This is Town of Webster Conservation Commission meeting for Thursday, May 5th, 2022 at 5:34. This meeting is called to order. My name is Julie Wigglesworth. I am the chairman of the Conservation Commission here in Webster. And I just want to remind folks that if you are not a commissioner, please mute yourselves, as background noise often can be a problem in electronic forums. That would be great. So I'm going to read an excerpt here while meets in these electronic forums, but this is ordered by the State Department of Massachusetts pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order superseding certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law GLC 30A Section 18 and the Governor's June 16, 2021 Act relative to extending certain COVID measures adopted during the state of emergency. This meeting of the Webster Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. The board will record the meeting for the purposes of note-taking. Anyone else wishing to record the meeting for personal use must notify the chairman in advance, and that would be myself. And you can use the raise hand function. You'll find that at the bottom of your screen right next to the chat feature. So once again, welcome everybody. First item here on the agenda is meeting minutes for approval of April 21st. Commissioners, as we know, that did not get out from Mary this week, so we'll put that on to the agenda for May 16th. So we have no meeting minutes of approval for this week. We'll approve 2 sets of meeting minutes for next week, for next meeting on the 16th, which will be a Thursday. So I just want to remind everybody.
It's a Monday.
Is it a Monday? I'm sorry. I thought it was Thursday again. Sorry. I'm all mixed up with the town meetings and the elections and stuff. So, all right. So requests for determinations of applicability. These are also known as RDAs. These are public meetings. So I'm going to call Brandon Willis, 15 Bayview Road. This is replacement of a patio and pavers. We did a site visit there on Saturday. Do we have Mr. Willis with us on the line?
I need to read the notice, Joy.
Yep. Okay. I just want to make sure we got Mr. Willis. I'm going to turn it over to Dan, the clerk of our commission, to read the filing.
The official state government notice that says, in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, Wetlands Protection Act, this public meeting is being held on a determination of applicability filed by Brandon Willis to determine whether the placement of the patio and pavers at 15 Bayview Road in Webster are subject to the Wetlands Protection Act and local wetland bylaw. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, Dan. All right, so Mr. Willis, we're out at your property on Saturday. Unfortunately, we had so many site visits and time constraints. The entire board did not get to visit your property, but did get a chance to take a look. 3 of us, it was myself and Robin and Dan, you were with us, correct?
I was there, yes.
Yes, so we took a look at a very compacted, degraded area of which you would like to tie in a patio to what is, folks on the right-hand side, you can see it's an old concrete pad from when they built the house. They've got some crushed stone, and there's a little sort of dirt area here where he's got his grill built in there. And he wants to run patio along that orange line there. And it's going to be pervious pavers. And it will, he'll have 3 granite steps down here. And we discussed having plenty of crushed gravel underneath, 4 to 6 inches, so that the percolation underneath the pervious pavers with just another about 1/4 of an inch gap between the pavers will help get the water down into the ground here. You can tell by walking on this area that it's so compact that the water's just hitting it and really just running right off onto his area here where at the shoreline there. He's got a lot of rills that have started. Rills are erosion trench areas. He's got one major one there. You can see where the access of water just keeps coming right out of there. Definitely think that with putting in the patio with enough crushed stone underneath it, even though it is pervious, it'll definitely be an upgrade of what he's got going on there. I did talk with Mr. Willis about putting in a 1 to 2 foot strip of either crushed gravel or maybe some plantings of some either black-eyed Susans or something that's not too tall, but will suck up some more of the water. Because as we know, we're moving into a different climate time, and we're getting these deluges of rain, and we need something other than just getting water into the ground. We need something to suck it up. So Mr. Willis, did you think about that at all? Would you consider something along the patio there?
Yes, exactly. Actually, Joe, I actually thought it was a fantastic idea. I want to put the entire length where the steps are not, is put crushed stone and planting the entire length of it. Just I thought it'd be aesthetically good looking and handle any type of, water that would fall over there. So that's
Okay.
exactly what I'm trying to do.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, we talked about some, either some ornamental grasses that are, they're called hydrophilic. They love sucking up the water. Black-eyed Susans, something that's not so huge to block the view, but something that, definitely will help out with the water situation. Patios, the patio is definitely far enough away from the water, but the idea is getting the water into the ground so that it cools enough to get back into the water table. That's kind of the art with this. Because having water hit a hot patio and then get into the lake, it's not helping cool the lake down, which can have ecological implications. I did also, commissioners, and I know you're probably wondering, yeah, at one point, I don't know if it's during Mr. Willis's time or not. Yes, there is, you're looking at a man-made beach there, which are prohibited by the state. I did talk to him about not adding to any more beach sand there, just kind of working with what he's got there. Any kind of filling of sand at a shoreline is definitely against wetland regulations, and doing so can be a very costly thing from the state, and it can be a violation for the town. So and he understood that. So commissioners, questions on this project? It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and I'm curious to know what your questions and concerns are.
Are those railroad ties? And are those remaining?
Those are railroad ties, and I believe he's got, 2-foot blocks that you would put in there?
Yes, yeah. The railroad ties will be removed, and the 2-foot wall will be like 2 feet closer to the house.
Yeah, he's actually going to be bringing it back a little bit.
So the grade's going to remain the same. So
Grade, sorry, the grade's gonna match what's where the top picture there, where you can see the crushed stone. The whole thing will remain that height.
Yeah, it's
all
actually
the way
probably,
down.
it's actually probably gonna come up just probably about maybe 6 inches, Michelle. Because see where his patio is, like up against the house?
Yep.
It's just going to, he wants to it's all kind of mismatched there. It's really kind of a drip hazard. Just to kind of have it all matched there. And then of course, when he puts that, when he brings this, back a little bit, it'll all match and he'll get that, 2.5 foot block in there and then, you know, work within that.
Okay.
Excuse
Did
me,
you-
Joey?
Yeah.
Was the new wall gonna extend further than what you see there?
No, it's going to go from where the stairs are there. I saw 3, I think it was 3 steps, 3 granite
Okay.
steps. And then they're gonna be, exactly where these sort of defunct ones are now. And then, come down here, and then Mary, do you have another shot that shows the other angle there? It's gonna end at, just about the same section, sort of, there's sort of another, I think it was like, isn't it like flagstone? Yeah, see that flagstone area there?
Okay. Yeah,
Sort of flagstone walk that goes out to the dock.
so is the wall gonna have any kind of footing or is it just gonna sit on the sand?
It's on crushed stone. Oh, the wall, oh, I don't know.
It's not really a wall though, it's just like a barrier like the railroad ties were, right?
Yes, yeah.
Curb. It's a curb more than anything else.
Yeah,
Is that a hot tub?
Yeah. Or is that is, yeah.
When the railroad ties get pulled out, what will he do? Just grade whatever the elevation difference is towards the beach?
I'm gonna put crushed stone and plants on where the in front of that, where the railroad ties are, right on the other side of the patio, and put the planters there. So it's gonna be
Okay.
plants and crushed stone.
between, so this is the patio and then
Yeah,
plants and
towards-
crushed stone go here and then
Yeah.
a new, not railroad ties, but some other piece of,
Some type of edging, right, exactly,
Edging.
Mary,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, concrete
right,
there.
exactly.
Mr. Chairman, did you discuss maintenance of a hot tub so close to the water?
I did not, no.
I find that kind of concerning.
Did you want to start that conversation?
Not really. Is it? Well,
I'll be honest with you, Michelle, I didn't actually even notice the hot tub there until you brought it up in the photographs and I actually walked the property. I was more looking at what was gonna be developed.
right. It's just, you know, we would never have permitted a hot tub that close to the water. I'm sure there's chlorine and other chemicals in it. I don't know how it's maintained to prevent anything from going into the water. And so it's very concerning.
Yeah, I don't, I can answer any questions you want on the hot tub. I mean, I know that the pad was there when I moved in. It's, I probably no difference. I'm a little bit ignorant on that piece of it. It's bromine, not chlorine, but nothing is self-contained. Nothing's drained into the lake ever. That's all I know about it, but I know it's not chlorine, it's bromine that we use in it, but we don't, it's not drained into the lake or anything like that.
Bromine is salt. Like a salt water.
Okay,
Oh, I'm asking.
okay.
No,
I'm not familiar with that, Michelle.
right.
Why don't I look up some best practices on hot tubs that are adjacent to wetlands. I'm pretty sure I know a town that has something like that. And see if I can get a hold of it. But obviously, you know, we were going with this, Brian is, you know, being very, cautious and careful and making sure none of the chemicals are stored, you know, close to the wetland. You know, if you've got a spill, you'd want to make sure that, you know, you clean it up appropriately. You know, backwashing of it, you know, of course, these things need to be backwashed, you know, making sure you're not backwashing it towards the lake. You know, you want to backwash it into, you know, either buckets or, you know, there's various other ways that you can manage it. We gotta get you the information on it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
In regards to the project itself, Dan, you were there, Robin, you were there. Did you have any concerns that you noticed?
Myself, I think he has addressed the issues that you brought up while we were there. I'm satisfied.
Okay,
I think you're gonna review with different things with the hot tub with him privately
Yeah.
at some point. Yeah, okay, great.
yeah, we can definitely, work with him on that. And-
Now the old pavers are gonna be removed or they're for another project or something?
They've already been moved into
Okay,
the front of the house, and I'm going to, yeah, they're gonna be removed. I'm not gonna use them anywhere else.
okay.
And the docks need to be permitted. A dock. needs to be permitted.
That was one thing I didn't get a chance to talk to you about on Saturday. Brian, was the licensing of your dock. I'm sure living on the lake, you've heard about Chapter 91. Chapter 91 is the state licensure of docks. All docks that are within a great pond. Great Pond is what we have in town here. And the state is, or has gotten very strict, specifically our district of DEP and the Southeast District of DEP, where most of the great ponds are. And they're looking for when projects come across, to make sure that the commission is upholding Chapter 91, and that is where the dock connects to land. That's when the dock becomes subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. So with that, what we would need you to do is we just need to, the state makes this thing such a process, it's ridiculous. And I'm sure anyone that is on the line that has tried to do the process, I sympathize with all of you. But it's basically knowing how wide your dock is, how long your dock is, understanding the square footage. I see that you got a jet ski, that's a jet ski lift, right, Michelle?
Yep.
Yep, understanding that square footage is factored into that. So what you do is you factor in all that square footage, and then what you do is you draw that all out, and then what you do is you measure your frontage at the lake, and you need to know across how far. Eric, can you please mute the Bona? Across, your, you know, say you have 50 feet. You want to make sure that your dock is relatively center, which your dock looks like it's a little bit more to the left, but your dock should be minimum, if you can, 25 feet off from your neighbor's property line. All right, that's what the state essentially requires.
Okay,
And it should not obstruct navigability. That is the biggest thing that they're looking for, is not obstructing navigability. So, what they're gonna wanna do is know from the 2 points at the end of the dock, where, also the next closest land, is. And then what they wanna do is they wanna know a side profile, how far out the dock goes, and then about approximately what the depth is. Your dock at the longest, as far out as it goes, what the depth is, and you should be in a minimum of 18 inches for safe berthing. And that is an overview of that. We have information on the website. And we can help you out with any of that if you need help with that, but you have to license your dock. It's like a $75 fee, and the permit's like 15, it's like 15 years.
okay.
And I-
Yeah, definitely, Joe, I appreciate it, and I will definitely reach out and get that done.
Okay.
Just a comment on the property ownership.
Mhm.
Let me just look at the map here, which you did submit. This is what we're showing on our town database as
Okay.
your property boundary, and it looks like some of this land here might be being used, potentially this area over here. So just, I would check, make sure you know where your pins are. Don't let your stuff end up on someone else's land or town land.
Yeah.
So just check.
I agree, Mary. Yeah, totally, Mary. I agree. Actually, those docks there actually floated away from another neighbor across the cove.
Oh,
And
really?
those aren't mine. I pulled them in when they floated away just to store them until they could get there. So you're right. That stuff over there doesn't stay there. But you're right.
Okay.
I will definitely make sure that I will check it. But that was for a neighbor who's floated away after the ice came. You know, ice went away.
Okay, sorry about that. Just
No, it's still a good point, Mary.
Yeah.
It's totally valid. But
All right, so that must have been what I was talking about, Brian.
yeah, proudly, yes.
Brandon, sorry, Brandon.
Are they-
I know what Brian Willis, that's why. All right, folks, anything else on this?
Docks, Joey,
What's that?
it looks like there are 2 docks. Is that a different property?
No, that's those. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
The one in the background is the one they was talking about that got pulled in.
well,
No, it's not. It
The
doesn't look-
floating docks were what got pulled in. No, both those docks are my docks.
Okay,
The aluminum docks are both mine.
okay, so you have 2 docks.
I have 2 docks. The floating docks that Mary was talking about that were on the shoreline were a neighbor
Oh,
from across
those.
the
Okay,
cove.
okay.
Yes,
All right, then if you have 2 docks, then you would need to, you'd need to go
file
for,
both of those.
well, no. You can have 2 docks, but you'd need to file the more complicated license.
And you
Um,
still need 25 feet from both neighbors.
Yeah,
Yeah, just to be honest, I'll definitely do it, but I'm actually thinking of, to your point, Joe, it's actually reconfiguring and not have 2 separate docks and just have one set altogether. But I will definitely work with the town to file those.
okay, all right. All right, folks, commissioners, anything else on the Willis project? All right, hearing, no, discussion. Commissioners can, do we have a motion here for 15 Bayview Road?
I have a motion for a negative determination for 15 Bayview Road.
Okay, Robin with the first,
Second,
and with the second.
Ms. Chirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes,
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes,
And I think that's everybody, right?
Yes.
yes. All right. Great. All right, Brandon, before you begin your project, you're gonna need to have erosion control set up, the silt fence and straw wattle. That's obviously a no-brainer with the project next to the lake. Please get in touch with Mary before you begin anything.
Okay,
And Mary's gonna come out with you and help set up your erosion controls. They're probably just gonna end up running just along the sand there until everything
Okay.
is done, everything is stabilized, and then you can't take them out until you've checked in with her. She comes by, she looks at it, and then you're all set.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Not a problem, not a problem. Good luck with everything, and if you run into a problem or an issue, please partner with us and let us know, okay?
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right, sure. Have a good summer, okay?
All right, you too.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so next up here, we have got 20 West Wind Drive. This is Kim and Mike Laramie. Installation of a concrete patio and a tiki bar. Oh,
I
that
have the
sounds
notice,
fun.
I have the notice again, Joey.
Hold on, Dan. Do we have a representative or Kim and Mike on the line?
Yes, we're here.
My tiki shirt just to hang out at the tiki bar for you. So,
All right, come on over after we're done.
hey, we've been to your house plenty of times, so why not?
I'm sure you have. We got quite the stonework going on over here.
Yeah, you did. All right, Dan, go right ahead.
In accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, the Wetlands Protection Act, this public meeting is being held on a determination of applicability filed by Kim and Mike Laramie to determine whether the installation of a concrete patio and a tiki bar is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act and the local wetland bylaw.
Okay, so here is the sketch. Geez, I think it's just maybe Michelle, myself, and Fred that may remember this project on West Wind. Long ago, two homes that were joined. They were like Siamese twins at one point, joined at the wall. And this is currently what it looks like. Did we issue the COC on this?
Yeah, so
Yep.
I was looking into that. We actually, I did talk to them about this, and I think I gave them the paperwork, but I think before we give the determination out, I mean, we can approve it. We should get that request for a certificate of compliance.
Yep.
So yeah, there has not been a COC here. I don't think there's any major outstanding issues just from being on the property. I think there was a question about the sand, but earlier, but I think we talked about that a few years ago, and it's okay.
Yeah, everything was fine. I think
Yeah.
I think they may have gotten caught up in the COVID had hit and everything had gotten all jostled up and
Hello, Carrie. Hi,
that's
good.
why
What's going on?
So
it had gotten dropped. Is
I
that
don't,
Mr.
you mean open right now? No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Is that
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Lo-
got him.
hijacking the meeting? All right, so we need to close out the order of, is it the order of conditions or is it for the full project?
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I was unable to find this order of conditions at the registry.
Okay,
So that, I think it's important that it be registered.
Yeah, so I think we can't close that out tonight. We need the official request from the people. I think we can, if we approve the RDA, I think just that would be one of the conditions that before they start the work, they take care of this old order. or maybe we wait to approve it. I mean, it's up to you guys, but
Do they have the chapter 91
Tim.
hearing?
we did not, that was not part of the order. This was before then.
Started
So
doing
So
that.
so we did a holdback when we bought the house for the order of conditions to get, to get them compliant. So we're just, I don't know if we have to call the Stensons back and have them, ask you to do this, or how does that work?
You can request it or they can request it. I think at this point it's expired. Let me see. Maybe not though. Oh yeah, well, probably expired. Yeah, it's expired.
But, well, actually, now it might not be, Mary, because if you use the calculator, because it would have expired during the pandemic, with the run of the continuance on, with the pandemic.
It's like 15 months though, so that's still, it would have expired 2020 and it's 2022. So I think it's been expired for 2 years, so I think we're okay. It's expired.
Okay,
So the only thing is, because it's expired, somebody needs to pay a $50 fee for the request. So you might want to have the Stinsons do that instead of you paying it. But anyone can submit the paperwork.
That's
Okay.
fine. We can come down tomorrow and give you the $50 and do that. That's not really a big deal. We don't need that to hold this project up. I'm sure we're compliant. I'm sure that they were compliant. So it's just, if it's just a matter of a fee, we'll just come down tomorrow and pay it. And that's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
only
a fee and a form, which I think I gave you guys, but
Were there any special conditions that are ongoing?
well, there was the deal with the oil, and I don't even remember this actually, but I guess there had been an oil spill there. Monitoring wells not to be disturbed. Are you guys familiar with this?
this one was before my time, but was going on, had just been completed when I joined the board, and the next house had been sold, and I was just
Yeah,
permitting the house next door. But I had met the both of you in the process. I don't remember an oil spill.
yeah. At any rate, the main point was not to disturb the wells and everything. I think everything's done. I'm sure the people for the oil spill would have. Anyway, if we can research it more if we need to, but that was the only thing outstanding for this project. And this is kind of the plan that, I think this is the plan for, yeah, this was Chrissy's plan with all the plantings and the stonework, and I think there's another plan too, I think, in the thing, but we can't really discuss that till we get the formal request.
By the way, I did just find the order of conditions for the property out on registry.
It's on the registry, Fred?
Oh, okay.
What
Yeah,
was it?
I went out by property search, not by name.
So it was under 20 West Wind?
Yep.
Okay.
And this, I feel like there was an issue at one point where 21 and 20 were at one point joined, and there was something where they needed to be separated for some reason.
They do have separate orders of conditions
Yeah.
now, I believe, yeah.
But I remember somewhere, but anyway.
Yeah, I think maybe the wall was originally done as one because it was going to be one wall.
Yeah, they wanted it to match up, but anyway, so on the property, we're looking at a 7x4-inch patio area that's gonna have a little tiki bar. Where are you looking at putting this?
Right where you're putting your cursor right there. So
Okay,
from that wall, the wall to your left, out, the patio will be 10 feet
Okay,
So you'll actually have another 4 feet of grass area there.
okay. So just,
You'll have a 4 foot, so any of the runoff from the patio will go into that 4 foot grass right
all
there
right, so
before.
you
the
have a
wall.
little strip, a buffer.
Yeah, we
strip.
have a strip of grass. Yeah, we're not going
Okay.
right to the wall with it because we know that runoff is an important thing, not to get that into the lake to help
Yeah.
soak it back in
Okay,
into the lake.
all right. And, now are you doing this project yourself?
Yes,
Okay, because I think I remember you're a contractor, right, Mike?
I'm a mechanical contractor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of remember stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so now this is just gonna tie into that current patio you have down the end there?
No, there's gonna be grass in between there'll be grass in between that too, on
Okay,
that side.
all
So
right,
it's not gonna tie into it. There's gonna be probably like probably a 4 foot piece of grass there too.
okay. All right,
I know
So
runoff,
just-
again, I know runoff's important where everything can run off and soak back into the ground. I understand that.
all right, so not a complete rip up of this whole thing, just putting in just sort of kind of a paver area with just a little bark.
Yeah, so basically what we're gonna do is I gotta dig down probably about a foot,
Yeah,
and then we're gonna pour concrete with some rebar in it and then tie the tiki bar down to the patio into that concrete. That way there, we don't have a problem with anything with it going anywhere. It's gotta tie into something, you know?
okay,
Joey?
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time reconciling the hand-drawn plan with what's being said. Is it properly shown on that plan and I just don't understand it, or is not everything shown on the plan?
on this one, I think, did we get a narrative with this one, Mary?
No, no narrative with this one. I don't think.
I think what we're gonna, because with also with hand-drawn plans, we're gonna need to see a construction sequence with this. You
And
know, just,
also, the idea of, pouring concrete with rebar wasn't mentioned on that piece of paper.
I know it's not a huge project, Mike, but giving us details as to this is what I'm doing first, this is what I'm doing second, third, fourth, that way, if Mary drops in, Ted drops in, Mary's on vacation, I happen to drop in, I can see where you're at in the project and making sure that if the project's where you're at in the steps, number one. But, also, the state during construction season, they do bounce around, and we file a lot of projects in this town. So they do go out and about. So, I don't want anyone in our town to have the state drop in and not compliant. So, just even if it's 10 steps, I'm gonna put up, construction siltation. I don't think you're gonna need a wattle, but construction siltation should definitely go up. That's gonna be your first, your first step.
Yeah, I can put up some hay bales and silt fence. That's not a big
Yeah,
deal. I can put
just,
that right on the edge right there.
Yep,
And
just
then,
preparation,
So
site
you want me
preparation
to write a
steps.
narrative? Is that what you want? You want me to write a narrative of putting up silt fence and hay bales alongside there to contain anything?
I would just kind of, so that we can just see what your thought process on this, what's happening first, what's happening second, even if it's 6 steps, we need to see those pieces.
Yeah, it's not even gonna be 6 steps. It's just a matter of putting a hay bale, silt fence, and then I'm gonna dig that out. And then I'm gonna put
Yep.
forms in and then pour
Yep.
the concrete. I'm gonna have
Yes.
somebody come and pour the concrete. That's it.
Yes, because when you look at this and the state looks at this tells them nothing. You know, they need to, in the process of, you know, of filing, they like to see narratives. So, you know, you know, it's helpful. It's very helpful. So,
They have plumbing and electric go into this?
Yes.
okay.
And how did they get there? Or are they there already?
No, there's nothing down there. There's no electrical down there.
So you're gonna have to dig to put in electric?
Yeah, but it's gonna be like a ditch witch. It's gonna be a very small,
But
like an
from the
irrigation
house-
style.
But you are gonna dig from the house down to that spot, right?
Yes,
Okay, so I think. we
probably
need to do
down,
the-
probably down about 6 inches. It's not gonna go that far. We're just gonna pull the grass back a little bit. Just dig down enough to get a 1.5 inch conduit down there. It's nothing big.
And how about the plumbing? How does that work?
How's the what?
Plumbing? I see a sink. So there's plumbing?
Yeah, we're gonna put in, the water's gonna go down. It's just some 1/2 inch pecks. It goes down there with it. That's all.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you said. Can you repeat
Just
it?
some 1/2 inch pecks that goes down there. PEX tubing that goes down there. It goes
Yeah,
it goes alongside the electrical conduit.
And it all gets pumped back to the house? What happens to,
It
The
just
sewer.
runs, it just runs off. It just runs off into the grass area.
What runs off into the grass area?
Just that water from the sink. There's nothing being washed down there. It's just a hand sink.
I think you need a much better plan, because that, I would never get that concept from looking at the piece of paper that was submitted.
Is there, you're gonna have, you having gas down there too?
No, there's no gas down there.
Okay, are you planning on putting like gas burners down there?
Nope,
Okay,
nothing else. That's all you see. That's what's going there. Exactly what's going there. Nothing else.
I think probably the sink, the best option for that, seeing how, you know, either washing hands or washing, you know, dumping drinks down or whatever, probably some sort of maybe, you know, maybe some sort of small dry well would probably be the best thing. To let that stuff go in and just let it kind of go down into the ground. Rather than just out on your lawn.
That's fine. If that's okay to put a little dry well, and I have no problem.
Commissioners, what are you guys thinking? I mean, I think that's the easiest option, given the area and what he has to work with there.
now, but it just seems like we went from a simple bar to digging and conduit and now a dry well. And you could throw your drink in the water from where that tiki bar is going.
You
Right?
can on a boat too, can't you?
Absolutely.
Yep,
So.
but nobody's
all
gonna do that.
I didn't say you were gonna do that. So digging a dry well there just seems mighty close.
And the one thing that I would mention is that I believe national code requires 18 inches depth for a electrical system. You may want to check that with Ted.
And I think I think plumbing and electric can't go in the same area either. I think there's some rule for that.
Well, Ted could tell you that off
When-
the top of his head.
All right, so,
Joey, I would also jump in and ask if they refer to Ted with requirements for drainage. from a sink. I don't know if that needs to go into the sewer and to be treated, or how that's handled by code. But my concern is, like Michelle, if you've got drainage from a sink, it could be ice, melted ice, or it could be a drink, or it could be soap and water. What's the impact of that on the lake?
In all actuality, I mean, I don't think it's a major. I mean, it's just a
Right. I would still ask that he
group of
refer to
friends
Ted.
having a couple of, having a couple of good, Harvey wall bangers. But, I mean, we do have a couple of questions here that really should be addressed before we move forward with this, Mike. You really want to, before we move forward with this, we definitely would need to see the project layout, like, the steps of what you're doing this. In this time, I will get that, but clear up that first, notice, or first order of conditions, situation. I guess there's a form you need to fill out and get that cleared
I
that way.
thought he already said that's all set. Didn't he say that was all set? He looked it up.
Okay, but, oh, yeah.
No, it's so the original order was recorded, but we still need to close it out. So
Yeah,
there was a concern.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll come down and see you, and I'll close that one out. And then I'll write a narrative of the different steps I'm gonna do. I'll talk to the plumbing inspector and the electrical
Yeah.
inspector and see what they think about putting that in the same trench and how far down I have to go with that electrical.
Well, that's the key, because if Ted can give you some guidance on that, because if Ted says, hey, you gotta put a trench this way and that way, it's gonna alter this plan that's sketched out. And we need to have the definitive plan as to what's going on here. So that may change your steps. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
So what I'll do is I'll show the trench going down, how wide it's gonna be, how deep it is, what's gonna be in it. I get what you need now.
Yeah.
I didn't think this was all a part of conservation. I thought it was all about just setting up some hay bale, silt fence, and life's good, and I'll deal with the plumbing and the electrical inspector on the other stuff.
Well, what
That's all.
he says can impact how how you're digging and where you're going with that stuff, and it alters the plan of what you're showing us. So we need to account for that in our plan, in our decision,
Okay,
and how we approve the plan and how we condition it. That's all it is.
okay, I'll get right on it.
All right, Mike?
So does he know every single thing he's required to do right now?
He needs to come up with the narrative that shows the steps of how he's doing everything.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's gonna go down and see Mary,
Mhm.
talk to, when he's there, he's gonna see if he can talk to Ted,
Right.
see if trenching the electricity, if he's gonna consider getting a gas line down there, that's up to him. If he wants gas down there at some point, might as well consider it. Talk about the big concern is the sink. Can he put in a bio box down there? They make these little bio boxes too,
Mhm.
Mike,
Mhm.
that the sink drains into, and it goes down into, and these bio boxes have biological media that breaks down anything that goes into it. So you might be able to do one of those. Talk to Ted about that. They have all sorts of alternatives. So, that's something that you might want to consider. Figure that out. But aside from that, the actual plan design, does anyone have any problems with him just coming across, and any problems with that design?
He's missing a lot of information. I mean, just to start with, he doesn't even show the buffer zone for one thing. So you wouldn't even know that work was in the buffer zone, or the 25 no disturb zone, or the 50-foot no build zone. I mean, there's no relationship.
It does have the lake on there. You see lake and then
Okay. Sorry.
So
All right, so So, Mary, I think we have a plan. We have a construction plan of his property, don't we?
I don't think there were engineered for plans for this one. There were for the neighbor for 18. He redid his house. This one was just, I think we have something like this. For
All
this
right.
one.
So, Mike, what we're gonna need to know is from the lakes, the water's edge, how far back are you approximately, how far back from the water are you? I mean, I know you're high up. You're really high up, like, what is it, 14, 15 feet? But,
Well, so where that's going, right? It's up out of the water, probably about 6 feet. There's
Yeah.
a wall that comes up out of the water 6 feet, and then
Yeah.
it goes from there to the next wall where we're gonna build up against 14 feet.
yeah,
And then that comes up, up a little high too, and then there's that whole
Yeah.
garden area.
yeah,
So
it's kind of,
we're on the water. I mean, but we have we have some grassy area that everything can drain into up above. So it's,
Yeah.
I mean, again, I could probably take this and put it on that other plan that you had of the house and show it on that other plan with the house right there. And I could put it down below. And down in that area, and I could just put it down there, and then I could take and show you my trenching
It would-
across. If that's what helps, then that's what we'll do. It's
yeah,
no big
just
deal.
to give us some perspective, for some of the newer commissioners so that they have
Not a
some
problem.
perspective as to how far from, say, the shore or the edge there you are from the water.
Okay,
Okay.
I got it.
I think-
And then any questions when you're in there talking to Mary, Mary, maybe just, clarify that with him. So that, next time he come, for the next meeting, we can move this along. Any other commissioners, any other points for Mr. Laramie?
I think it's important on the next revision of the hand-drawn plan to indicate that the area that remains grass and the area that's hardscape.
Yeah, that's probably good too, Mike.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. I'll have it detailed for you. Again, I know what you're looking for now. This is my first run around with this. I didn't know that you needed it that detailed. I know exactly what you need now. I'll show it all.
Okay. All right, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we'll get you going down the right road, okay?
All right, thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, so we need to continue this to May 16th. And I get a continuation of 20 West Wind to May 16th.
I motion we continue 20 West Wind till May 16th.
I'll second it, Joey.
All right, Robin and Hayden.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes,
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes,
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
all right, thank you. Welcome, Hayden, thank you. I know you had a long day. All right, so for Black Point Road, this is Donna and David Dunn. Do we have the Dunns with us?
Yes.
Yeah, hello,
Hi, Donna. Hi, David. How
Hi.
are you?
fine.
Good. It was great seeing you on Saturday. And all right, so we visited your property, and just to recap what we had talked about was we obviously talked about your we took a look at the house, took a look at what you're planning for your deck and your stairs, so you can have egress out of the second level.
Mhm.
Deck is going to come across the back of the house, and it's going to come down the side. The stairs are going to come down the side.
Yes.
Side of the house, yes.
And then we looked at back of the backyard,
Mhm.
of which there was I guess some confusion with some clearing there. And so we talked about A
Mhm.
lot of different,
Mhm.
talked about a lot of different things that day. I know it was a
Mhm.
little bit overwhelming.
Mhm.
And so what, basically what I explained to you was to just, for now, move into some corrective action and revegetate that area, which is what is called the BVW, or the bordering vegetated wetland, which is essentially, which is pretty cleared out at this time, because under state regs that can carry a heavy fine
Mhm.
from the state and could from the town.
Mhm.
So, we talked about different species at that time. We talked about putting the pending patio on hold until kind of got the restoration, I'm gonna call it, under control in the back there.
Yeah.
We do your deck tonight, get your restoration under control. And then kind of revisit the patio and what you're thinking for additional yard landscaping.
Mhm.
Is that still is that
Yep.
still the way you want to move?
Yeah, that's fine. That's the plan. We've purchased a little bit more than half of the 10 plants that you wanted
Okay.
are down there. In the interim between the time we visited and dealing with Mike Hopkins, he's put in a back marker or whatever. I don't know what it is exactly, but he drew it. He put the back pin in, and then we took a string and went down, and anyway, he found where my back spot is, so that I'm not planting on somebody else's land.
All right, so was there some confusion as to where your pin was? Your pin in the wrong spot?
No, there just wasn't anything back there.
Oh,
There just wasn't anything. So he's gone over it multiple times, and I think we're accurate. And what else? We did that. I purchased most of the plants. Some of them I had to order online because I can't get them anywhere. And he put the signs in. He put that extra little sign that Mary thought should go 23, 25 feet off the corner of my lot, off the corner of my house. However, he also spoke with Steve, the engineer, and there was a discussion, I guess, at some point that the bordering wetland vegetation signs were to go on the property line. And so he moved that one that was way in the back, brought that up to the property pin that he put in today, or stake or whatever he put in. So now I have 3 signs. So with that said, I guess he also, I don't know if he actually physically brought a plan with the signs, basically the one 25 feet. And I hope I'm not speaking out of school, but if I understand things correctly, that was an error on the plan that has been approved.
I don't think that's an error.
Can I just finish?
It's not an error. So I had told Mike today when he came in that if you want that marker moved, you'd have to petition the board to have the marker in a different spot.
What marker?
The one that, I know he put one in today, right? The little marker.
Yes, yours.
Which is the one that's indicated on the plan. All right.
Correct. The plan that you have now in front of you. Yes.
Yep, this plan right here. Yep.
Yes. But again, as I read the order of conditions, 34 is kind of vague because it says they'll be installed according to the plan stating the edge of the wetland protection area, which is where the 25-foot boundary.
Right, so this is where the confusion is. A wetland, the protection area is not wetland. It's
Okay.
a buffer zone that protects the wetland. So it's an area between the wetland and your yard that's supposed to stay natural. And that's why it's not a specific number of feet off the wetland. This we discussed this at the meetings when this project was approved. So if you want to change where that goes, that the board would have to vote on that.
Well, if I may finish, they were going to submit, I believe, another plan so that that is changed. I believe.
Yeah, so you can't change the plan. This is the approved plan, okay?
Yes.
You can't change the plan unless the board approves it.
Correct. So
So,
I
well,
believe
well,
they
let-
may put one in front of you, I think.
Well, let me just ask this, Donna. That
Yeah.
one that we're talking about now, that little one,
Yep.
is it towards like the right front corner of your shed? Is that where it is now?
It's actually much closer to my house.
Okay,
It's 23 to 25 feet off the corner of my house, which
okay,
makes, if that is the case, 3/4 of the backyard, the whole
Yeah.
shed area is now within this second buffer zone that you speak of, or whatever you're calling.
okay,
But if a second plan is voted on, or however it proceeds, and that isn't needed, then the 2 wetland buffer signs that would be at the property's edge, like that one, then my shed is not in any wetland area. Or buffer area, buffer, I say them, I know I mix them up, but.
it's okay, it's okay.
So that's kind of this is a really big concern to tease this apart and figure it out.
Okay, so why don't,
This,
Alright, so-
so Joey, this shows the area of where, I think about where he put the sign.
yeah,
This shows, the tape
Okay.
shows kind of the line of where it goes. So, you know, she has this, her whole up here, she has part of the slope that's not in the wetland area, but this whole section
Yep.
is in the wetland protection area.
yes. I remember us talking about her, I mean, it's a moot point now, it's there, it's not going anywhere, but at the time, where her shed is, there was like a dead tree, and it was a flat area. It was a major runoff area. And we just, she wanted a shed. She's got a very small area. We approved the shed. So that's kind of a moot point at this point, but so now the back of her lot goes kind of in sort of a diamond shape, correct?
It's almost like a triangle, actually,
like
from
sort
the
of
way.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So,
it goes out into the way far into the wetland area.
I
My-
think,
Okay.
so did Mike measure that out, or do we need to, like, two of us, maybe the 3 of us, need to go there, measure it all out and work this, kind of iron it out?
But we can check it. I believe Mike said he measured it. It looks like it's in about the right spot from what, but I'll certainly check it. I mean, he also submitted a request for certificate of compliance today, which we won't review tonight. And so we can address that when we review that next week.
Okay.
Okay.
So I also understand from one of my past conversations with Mary that there's a percentage of the lots that need to stay pervious. Is that the right word?
Pervious.
Well, there's a pervious one and a natural area. So like undisturbed trees and forest
Right.
area.
Well, so the part that was disturbed was from the major excavator that was down there to take the 30-foot, 70-foot tree down. So once all that was run over, it was all cracked and everything, we cleaned it all up. So now we're ready to put whatever, however many plants Joey asked for 10, 10's fine. So the lot itself is 6,435 square feet. The house, which is an impervious part of the lot, is 1,708. So that
Then there's the driveway.
and then there's the driveway. We come, after all of the calculations are done, the pervious part of the whole lot is 57.6%. That's
let's see, are you lot 88? Yeah,
88, yeah.
the calculations are on the plan here. I don't know whether if you've seen this or not. So this is supposedly your
Oh, I didn't see that,
impervious
no.
area is right up here. And this also shows your natural vegetated area, and it is bigger than the other lots, 2,000
Yep.
square feet of
Yep.
natural vegetated area, and that's indicated on the plans.
Okay, so do
But-
I have enough of this pervious?
I don't think you need to worry about the pervious. I think you're
Okay.
okay
Okay.
with that.
All right. Mhm.
I think it's more the natural, I mean, and that's what kind of why the signs were where they were, to ensure that natural vegetated area. Because Steve actually, on these plans, he doesn't actually have it hatched out. We had him do it on other plans. He actually had to hatch out where that natural vegetated area was going to go. But I think that's why he has these signs here, because this is part of that natural vegetated area.
Okay.
Mary, could I ask a question?
Yes.
A couple of pictures ago, there was a picture of the backyard and it showed a yellow rope
Yeah.
right there.
Mhm.
And that the right-hand edge of that rope goes to the new marker placement up by the corner of the shed, correct?
Yeah. So Mike took a picture. He put this marker in today, I believe.
Yeah.
And so it kind of goes near where the wall steps down. Let's see if we can see where the wall steps down.
So
Mhm.
are we saying
Yeah.
that, looking in that top picture, are we saying that that yellow rope defines the boundary of the protected area?
Yeah, and so we're gonna have to put a little note that, the shed is allowed because we approved it. We didn't realize it was in the protected area. Yeah, the
Okay.
shed is in the protected area. I mean, obviously, I think she can mow up to the shed because the shed's there.
I'm
Right.
just wondering if that yellow rope defines that boundary, should we move that sign up to where the rope is?
This one here?
Yes.
Yes, I think that was already moved because I talked to Mike about that. He did actually move it. That one got moved.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
11,
Now,
it's 11 feet off the corner of that wall.
Yeah,
So now everybody has a clear idea of where the boundary of the protected area is.
I hope so.
I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Commissioners, any other comments, questions?
Could we,
So
Mr.
is-
Chairman, can we
is-
just clarify that right now we're discussing the stairs, a change to the deck? And
Yes, right now, we're just handling the corrective action of revegetating in the back and the stairs and the deck. And then we'll help Donna and her husband with the backyard situation, and we'll help them out with whatever they need in the future. Let's get this situation
So what,
done first.
where all my outside stuff is right now, the deck would go to the corner of the house, the steps would go towards the streetway.
Yep.
And then the same patio pavers go underneath the deck as, okay, I didn't hear that part, I want to be sure.
Yep.
that was gonna be allowed. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have another question, and a while back, and there was pictures of some stairs, like 4 or 5 steps. Where
Well,
are we talking about those stairs going?
well, we're actually not at this point,
Okay,
right? I think that's
yeah, they were.
true.
They're gonna put that sort of enhance what they were looking at it for a little seated patio area. They're putting that on hold for now, Dan, and I talked to her about enhancing this area that had gotten disturbed
Mhm.
with, 10 shrubs and some
Well, that-
native plantings in there to restore here because,
Mhm.
she's just a few feet from actually the bank there.
Well, that was my question about the
Yep.
stairs. Are those stairs intended to give access down the bank into the protected area?
Well, when it comes to that point, yes, because I'm allowed to have an 8 by 8 foot dock for a kayak or canoe out in the, I guess, out towards the waterway, which I haven't done anything about yet. But as you saw, if you were here, I believe you were,
Yep.
it's treacherous to walk down that slope. Either you fall, you either slide down the stones or you actually, I landed on my back, just trying to bring the plants down to be planted down there. My request in the future, I guess, if we don't want to talk about it now, would be to put, there is a picture, I think, Mary, that shows for maybe 4 stairs that could, no, like a drawn photo picture. that-
At the beginning, right? Yeah, right
Like
here.
that, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes right up to where the oak tree was that was taken down.
Excuse me, Mary. The original, I should say, the submitted RDA that's before us tonight, is it only saying stairs and deck, and has everything else that was talked about at the last meeting been removed if it was there?
No, it has not been changed, but I think I can write the RDA to say, these things were approved. I can,
Okay.
as I write the RDA, I can write down what has been approved and what's not approved. So.
Yeah.
Is it too late to take the existing RDA and just cross those items out so there's no confusion?
Yep, I can do that too.
It'll be in the minutes too, so the
Okay.
meeting minutes will reflect that. So, and of course, I mean, Donna and David have been very patient and we'll work with them. They know that we're, a friendly board and we've been there before and once things are established and, got to handle things in the back are revegetated and whatnot. We can revisit some of these other points and see what we. All right. Commissioners, anything else?
I'm good for now.
All right, so with that, can we get a motion to approve the deck expansion with stairs and the revegetation of corrective action for disturbance in the BVW in the backyard?
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Okay, Dan and Robin.
So let me just clarify, you specified 10 shrubs, right?
Yep, 10 shrubs, and I mean, if she wants more, that's fine. I mean, it's, if she wants some native plantings back there, like,
I think it will be a work in progress.
Yeah,
I'll
stuff
get
that you-
going what you need to
yeah,
have.
you want to put some flowers in there
Mhm.
that, are native, that bloom. I mean, more vegetation is better than none. There's plenty of vegetation that will bring pollinators and
Mhm.
hummingbirds and stuff like that. I know
Mhm.
we can tell that you like your outdoors, you know.
Mhm.
Well, just a word of caution. Yeah, planting things is good, planting flowers is okay, but you cannot make the protected area a landscape part of your yard.
Right. Yeah, we
Okay.
understand that for sure.
All right, so I'll go ahead with the vote. I'm sorry I interrupted that process. Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes,
Mr. Brown.
Abstain, I wasn't on the last meeting.
Okay, Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Dunn, thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? If you have, need anything, you need us to stop by, check something out, please feel free.
Well, I'll let you know when things are planted.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to come and, have
Yeah,
a visual.
you have questions or whatnot, have Mary stop by. Mary's out and, she's out and about looking at projects and whatnot, doing checks. You want me to come by and look at stuff, ask Mary, I can come by at some point.
Okay.
All right.
My only question now would be if this is I don't know when we will proceed with going to the building department to get a building permit and even get a contractor that's not busy to work on the deck and the stairs. Probably not till the fall. I don't really know. So it would be I don't know if it would be after that I would have to file again. Is that?
You have 3 years on this permit.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
yes.
But everything else got crossed out. So does that mean I have to go back and refile
If you
for
wanna do that.
anything additional?
On anything additional on that, yes.
Yeah.
You will.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
that's
Okay,
good.
All right.
Great.
just curious. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
folks. It's great
All
seeing
All
you.
right.
thanks.
Have
All
a
right.
good night. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yes.
All right.
Bye now.
Take care. All right, folks, thank you very much. All right, we're moving on to public hearings, notices of intent, also known as NOIs. 15 Cedar Point, if you didn't hear earlier in the meeting, this is continued to May 16th. So if anyone has been waiting for that, May 16th, that will be heard. Next up is 10 Pebble Beach Road. This is the Nowicki project, demolition and construction of a single family home. I believe this is Mr. LaBelle's project, and we have Mr. LaBelle on the line or Mr. Nowicki.
Actually, Zach Gless from Existing Grade is here.
Mr. Glass, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good. I told you it wouldn't be long before we heard you again.
Oh, that's right.
All right, so some commissioners were out there on Saturday. I'm sorry we had to split up into groups. We had so many site visits. It was a busy Saturday. So I missed this one. So all right. So why don't you take us through, this is a demo and construction on this. So why don't you take it away?
Yep. Again, for the record, this is Zach Gless from Existing Grade representing the applicant, Mr. and Mrs. Nowicki, for 10 Pebble Beach Road. So the existing site right now, it's a single family residential house with a driveway. And the intent of this project is to completely raise that existing house, get rid of it, and then put a new construction on there with a 3-car garage, a little bit larger of a driveway than is existing. On the northern side of the project, there's an existing shed. It's definitely seen some better days. So we want to propose to remove that. And there's actually going to be a little bit of fill coming into the site because there's a depression right around the shed. So we want to just lift that up to flatten out the grade a little bit so it doesn't collect water as it currently does. The proposed structure, it's going to be a little over 4,000 square feet. We have 2 Caltech chambers to infiltrate the roof runoff. We have a proposed erosion control running around the western side of the property, which would be the side that the property is abutting up against Webster Lake. The project proposes the removal of 6 trees, and we want to replant 3 red maples kind of within the vicinity of where we're proposing to remove those trees. I know originally we had proposed, it's going to be on the southwest corner of the site. There's 2 quite large pine trees down there. And it'd be something for discussion that originally we wanted to propose to remove those and replant them. I know Mr. LaBelle and the owner have had a chance to speak to the abutter on that site, and he would be in favor of removing those trees because they are pretty close to his house. They do kind of represent a bit of a danger to his house, but we can discuss that in a little bit here. The proposed site is going to be connected to town water and sewer. There is an existing water shut off in front of the house that we'll be tying into, and then the site is currently on town sewer. I mean, it's basically the gist of it. I mean, none of the work is closer than 25 feet to the lake. We had to go back out and put on some buffer zones to the cove on the opposite side of the road, which were not obtained during the original survey. So we've added those on there, and then you know, just the very standard construction notes are on the plan as well, very similar to the last project that we've done. So I guess in a nutshell, that's kind of the gist of the project. So to open it up to any questions or comments from the board.
The board, questions, comments?
Well, Joey, I was there Saturday, and a few of the things that we identified,
Okay,
I believe Zach has added to the plan.
okay,
Yep.
Like the fire pit going to be hand removed. the
Yes,
depression
there's
by
a,
the
I'm sorry, I don't mean
shed.
to interrupt. There is a fire pit and kind of a brush pile down
Yep.
by those 2 pine trees at the southwest corner. So we do want to remove those by hand. There's gonna be no machine work anywhere outside the proposed erosion control.
okay,
The one thing I did notice was we had talked about the possibility of considering like construction fence, just that orange fence,
Yeah.
as opposed to erosion control with wattles and silt fence,
okay,
because there's kind of no fear of erosion making it to the lake. And we said we would bring it up for the commission to consider. So that way they won't be digging in silt fence. They can just, install the orange construction fence.
thing is the silt fence provides a barrier if something happens to go airborne. Believe it or not, it helps to stop some stuff from going airborne. But I mean, I'm open to whatever the board would like to consider.
I would like to recommend to go with the silt fence and the wattle, just from visiting construction sites, even flat sites. I find some people push the dirt right up to the fence and even leaning on it. And so I'd rather have it there.
All right, Mary's got the final say. All right, so, anything else, Karen, that you found with the site?
A few things that we talked about, because the site was so flat,
Yeah.
were addressed on the revisions that they put on.
Okay,
Dan and Michelle were also there if they have any
Okay.
comments. Not Dan, I'm sorry, Fred.
okay,
I think just a question of, will there be a dock? I know it looks like there's a dock sitting on the property now, an old dock, what they want to do with that.
I can work with the applicant on that, and if that's something that they're going to propose to use, we'll definitely be before you again with a Chapter 91 for that. If it is not permitted, I do not know the status of it. But again, if it is not permitted, we'll definitely be back, and if they want to use that, we'll file a formal Chapter 91 on that.
well, the thing is we recommend people to file it under the current NOI, number one, because they don't have to do a separate filing. It saves them money to roll it into the current filing. So what you can do is you can talk to them and then they can come back, can do an amendment to the order. And then
Sure.
what we'll do is we'll look at the dock, its placement, looking at all those configurations that I spilled out earlier in the
Mhm.
meeting. And then, we'll say yes, and then you can go on to the state and file it, because now in the state system, there's a stopping gap that says, have you been to see have you visited conservation, and that do you have approval from conservation? And if you don't, then you have to come back to conservation. So,
Yes, yep.
so if the dock's not registered, you gotta get it registered. So, trees that are being replaced, Mr. LaBelle is always really good with, getting planting plans back to us. It'd be really good to know, wrap the trees that are staying, in that orange construction fence. But I would probably, it'd be good to know like what caliper. I mean, some of these trees that are coming down are pretty good caliper. So I would probably recommend at least a 1.5 to 2 inch caliper tree. Just so that they get in there and they get going again. That's my recommendation.
Okay, yep.
But aside from that, I mean, can we scroll down a little bit and take a look at some of these notes, Mary?
Yes, yeah, here's the sequencing plan. There's- I think we should just hammer down the number of trees to be removed, and they had originally proposed 4 new ones, but maybe they changed it to 3. But typically we require, originally they were proposing 10 trees to be removed. So I think we typically require a 1-to-1 tree replacement. So maybe talk about a few shrubs or something instead of some of the trees, in addition to the trees that are being added.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, folks can, we understand that, everyone is living in a time where there's, no one wants the, 50-foot pine trees anymore. Number one, they're messy. Number two, they're not the most pleasant to look at, but, bear in mind that they provide habitat for our prized bald eagles and our ospreys and various other wildlife, but they provide a tremendous amount of ecological function for what we're protecting. But also, we're in warmer times, folks, and you kind of want a little bit of shade in your backyard. 10 years from now, you're going to want that shade. That's important, but shrubs near the water, are good. They absorb a lot of any kind of contaminants or, any kind of runoff. And getting water into the groundwater table is so important. I did notice that this house has sort of a kind of a private, it looks like it's been there a long time, but, it's important if the homeowner is on the line or Zach to express that, private beaches are not, they're not necessarily, we're not necessarily supposed to allow them. We're not supposed to shut them down, obviously, but you can't re-nourish them. So you can't go dumping sand on them to re-nourish it. So what you got, just work with it. And if you get caught re-nourishing a private beach, that carries a minimum of a 5-digit fine.
No, we can definitely make sure that doesn't happen. And
And,
again,
yeah, and
nothing
it's
proposed on that side.
and that's levied by the state. So that's a big deal. So, you get your track pad in there, everything, everything's good. I don't see anything I don't see anything out of sync with this one. Coltex, so I see one. Are we just, no, I see two.
I
We
have two. I got one
Coltex
up by the
ones? Yep.
driveway and one in the backyard so that we
Okay.
can split the runoff from the roof and infiltrate it evenly.
Fantastic. All right, so there's a driveway. Yeah, I see the driveway is tied into the one in the front. Okay.
So
I guess I just have to ask, so the two pine trees that are down by the water,
Yep.
is there any opportunity to remove those and replant them with something, or is that going to be, not favorable? Just again with the abutter to the south, I know that he has expressed concerns because those are very close to his house. I don't know if any of the photos from the site show. So I know that he does have concerns over, again, limbs dropping on his house because they are, older trees. I don't know, I'm not an arborist. I don't know at what point in their lifespan they're at. But if, I do know that we would wish to remove those, but we can leave them if that's what the board is going to be favoring towards.
If I remember right, one of those trees over in that section is kind of scraggly looking and definitely on its last legs.
yeah, that one's on the plan to be removed.
Yeah, that would be the hemlock closest to the southwestern corner
that
of the
hemlock,
house.
I can tell by looking at that hemlock, it's sick.
Yeah, the hemlock is a twig.
Yeah,
A
it's-
standing twig.
Yeah.
I would make the case, Joey, that we don't want the pines to go for the bald eagle, if nothing else, and we continue to replace large trees with trees that will take 100 years to be tall enough to replace them. So I took a ride by there and looked at the house next door. I could see wanting to take some limbs off the tree, but I really don't.
I mean,
think
I
we
would
should
be in
do
favor of pruning, if that is, acceptable, but these are trees that are far enough away from the construction of the house. There's no, it's more of an impact to the resource area than it is, a detriment to the construction of the actual dwelling itself.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Hi, it's Katie from 10 Pebble Beach, one of the new owners. I totally understand what everyone is saying about the pine trees. I do have 3 little kids that will be on this property, all under 4 years old. I've noticed some larger branches that come down, 4 to 6 centimeters in diameter. So for me, a safety reason, I would love to see these trees just come down to eliminate any safety issues in the future and peace of mind for me. And I'm happy to plant some other trees in place of those 2 pines.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, I'm Patty Bonaventura, and I live on 12 Pebble Beach. I'm the abutter to the Newickys, and the branches do fall down. A big one fell down last winter and hit my husband's truck. And when we get those winds that come across the lake, it's only a matter of time before it takes down my deck or my house. So I'm really concerned about it. I have no problem with some trees going up, but those trees are old and they have a very shallow root base, and it's only a matter of time before they come down.
Well, if these trees come down, I'm gonna suggest to the board, and I'm going to suggest to Mr. LaBelle that 2 5-inch caliper trees, 5 to 6 inch caliper trees of native, whether they're red maple or something, but something that is really big is going back.
And that's fine. It's just not those pine trees that is just gonna, snap. Those trees would be young and healthy
I understand it. I hear it all the time, but I gotta tell you, anyone that's on this call listening, we hear it constantly, but you wanna know something? The wind vector that's coming off the water is probably 75% of the reason is because we're losing tree canopy across this. There's no windshield. There's no windshield on this lake anymore because of development across the lake. So we'll just keep taking trees down and everyone's just gonna keep, you're gonna keep getting these big waves and they're gonna keep damaging your property and
I hear you. I just, as long as they were anything but these big pine trees, I don't have an issue with them.
so, commission, so are we on board with 2 6-inch caliper trees?
I'd like to know if an arborist will look at this or if it's been pruned before we make the decision that replacing it is okay. Because replacing right there, now you're increasing the limit of disturbance because you can't put a tree where those trees are. You're
No,
gonna
I
have to
think,
go up the
but
root.
I think that they should, I'm seeing trees right directly behind them. I think that, what's the other side look like, Mary?
What, you
The
mean
other side
behind?
has a big arborvitae row on it.
Joey, there were only a handful of mature trees on that property, and all of them were being proposed to come down with and we agreed to keep the birch because the birch was outside the construction area and it was at grade. But every other mature tree is coming down on that property, with the exception of the 2 pines that we were trying to hold on to.
Well, if the 2 pines are coming down, then we need to figure out where they're gonna go and they need to go down somewhere down near the water.
Well,
So,
I thought that normally when we needed a reason for the trees to come down. Like, no, I haven't heard anybody say that an arborist looked at them and they're sick, or they've been pruned and, you know. I guess having been on the board for a long time, it's incredibly depressing to understand the number of large trees that come down because nobody wants to deal with them.
well, we can request an arborist on this one.
And I agree with you, if they have to come down, then they gotta be replaced by something big, but I don't know how we do that without disturbing even more. Cause you'll have to pull up those root balls, won't you, to plant something?
And for every, I think, 2 to 3 feet, you go out 6 feet on the root ball.
Right, so now you're talking about
Do the math.
a lot of increased disturbance right at the water, like very close to that natural shoreline.
I mean, I guess for the sake of, moving through the meeting, if we'd be able to just leave it then, that we'd be able to prune those trees to remove any sort of dead limbs and leave them as they are for now. And that if in the future anything needs to get done over there, we can come back before the board, but to almost leave the plan as it is then, to leave those but prune them so that any of those dead branches that are sitting there, we can take them down. But
I would be fine with moving this project along with a prune for now. And then if we get something from an arborist, on those trees, then we can discuss that further to continue to move things along here. And be able to, because I feel everything else is in order, so.
Yeah, I would suggest, still we have, 9 trees per, I guess if we keep the 3, then we have 7 trees being removed and 3 replacements. So I would recommend at least 4 to 6 shrubs, be added as part of this revegetation.
I would add the shrubs in here, yeah.
But yeah, perhaps.
We're losing a lot there, yeah.
Yeah, because even if you planted up toward the shed area, you're still close to the water. It's just the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, I think shrubs could go, along the edge here or on this side, obviously.
There's plenty of pockets on this large parcel of property that we can find all sorts of wonderful places to put some shrubs and make it home and make it look good. And make it look conserved in some way.
Yep, and I don't think anybody would have a problem with, you know, as a condition there to be able to submit that landscaping plan as we typically do, showing where we could put 6 shrubs, if we could put that, you know, in the order.
Yes. And in regards to the pines, and I'm sure, you know, Zach, you'll talk to Mr. LaBelle, and if the pines are a major concern, I'll be honest with you. So someone comes and does, you know, pines are just like any other tree. You gotta prune them. You know, there's sick branches. You know, they shed dead branches so that they can send energy to the top to do their photosynthesis. I mean, it's science 101. So, you know, get the dead stuff off of them and, you know, it should be fine. But anyway, moving on. So, folks, do we, is there anything else to discuss with this? All right, with no other comments from the commission, this is a public hearing. Public hearings, we can't take comment from the public. Are there any abutters with comments on 10 Pebble Beach Road? Now open for comment. Last call for comment on 10 Pebble Beach Road. And commissioners, can I get a motion to close the public hearing on 10 Pebble Beach Road?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing on 10 Pebble Beach Road.
Okay. Can I get a second on that, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Fred.
All right, Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duto, Mr. Brown,
Dan, you're
Yes.
on mute.
Dan, you're on mute.
Mr. Duto,
Dan, you're still muted.
There you go. Yes.
okay, Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes. Dan, if you hold the space bar down for like 2 seconds, it'll unmute you. All right, motion to issue order of conditions for 10 Pebble Beach Road.
I motion we we get the order of conditions for 10 Pebble Beach Road. I apologize.
Got it, Robin.
Okay.
All right, so Robin with the first, we have a second.
I'll second.
Fred with the second.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right, so Ms. Nowicki, Mr. Glass, and I think Mr. LaBelle is on. Thank you very much and good luck with the project, and any hiccups or questions, consult Mary.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Yep.
All right, so moving on, 29 Beacon Road. This is Mr. Chaffetz. I believe we've got Mr. Steve here. There he is, back from his hunting trip.
No, I didn't go on a hunting trip.
Representing Mr. Chaffetz at 29 Beacon Road for retaining wall repair, paver replacement, tree removal. I think some of that stuff has already been done, but Steve will update us as to what's going on. And how are you, Steve?
I'm very well. Yourself and the
Great.
board?
Great, thank you.
What we did is I'm here representing Mrs. Chaffetz, and he lives at 29 Beacon Road. And what we did is we went out and did a topographical survey in the area where the construction is proposed.
Okay.
I showed the 50-foot buffer zone line and the 100-foot buffer zone line. And as you can see, the hatched areas, correct, and in back of the house. and in back of the house where I have it labeled, proposed covered patio area. Yes.
Okay.
That's what we are proposing. The shed that shows on the lot will be relocated
Okay,
out of the 50-foot buffer further probably towards the road. And I show his dock and give it a square footage with the profile.
Okay.
And if the board has any questions, I'd be glad to entertain them. I also show some wattles going around where they're gonna be putting that gazebo.
all right, so I see the 50-foot, all right, so the covered patio is to be installed. And then that covered area is gonna be connected to the house, Steve, or?
Yes, that will be connected to the house where she has her arrow pole. That'll be connected to the house.
Yeah. Okay,
And the other hatched area is a gazebo that attaches to the end of that, if you want to call it a cul-de-sac, but that's the end of the walk.
okay, okay. All right. And then 10 feet off the house, and then shrubs are going in a row, is that what I'm seeing there?
No, those are existing shrubs.
All right, so they're staying,
Yes.
okay, for privacy, okay.
But
There's
some-
4 arborvitaes
Yeah,
abutting the house.
yeah, I
Well, I
think I
have to-
remember them, yeah,
Yeah.
all right, so. Commissioners, questions?
Where
I
does
think
the
this
water
plan
go?
just came in today, so
I-
I didn't have an opportunity to review it.
Yeah, I have a question for Steve. Is that dock an existing dock?
Yes.
Okay, because it looks kind of close to the property line.
I show an arc there. What's it, 24 feet?
Okay,
And I mean, I call it like it is. That's what it is. They've had it for years there.
okay,
And because we need to get it approved by the local board, and then we can proceed to the state board.
right.
So. Mary, can you just share your screen one more time so we can see that?
Yeah, I was just trying to find the pictures I had from
Yeah,
way
just
back
to
when.
refresh us, I believe Perry came before us and we allowed him to do the recapping, some replacement of pavers and whatnot. I mean, they were in bad shape. I can remember that.
Yeah, so
on
he's
his
done,
property.
this is kind of pictures of the property, some of the stuff he was gonna do.
Yeah,
Is-
we approved part of it, I think, didn't we?
Yes.
Or
What
was it
happened
just
was,
admin?
if I may, what happened was, I originally did this project. They tore down the existing house
Yep.
and reconstructed a new house.
Mhm.
And the patio had existed and he did some work there to do the work at the time that was proposed. And then he came back to you people to put the gazebo and the overhang on the rear door.
Yep.
And that's what this plan reflects. I guess you gave him permission to remove some trees.
Yep.
Trees, yeah. And
Yeah,
I-
he came to us for the trees and then to replace the capper stones and then some patio blocks that were cracked.
Yeah, and this here plan pretty much
Is just for,
for the overhang and the proposed gazebo.
And
Yeah.
Are you taking him?
Mary, can you, Jerry, I think, can you mute that person?
Okay.
Steve, are those trees or something coming out over by the gazebo? Looks,
I think those are the ones we approved to.
Those are the ones, yes, correct.
Yeah, we
they're
approved
gone
them.
already. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to catch up.
So it's just the structure that's being built at the house and then just the little gazebo there at the end of that patio. So, I mean, it's kind of a straightforward, it's right at the 50 yard line there and the sh- we got
Impervious.
we got Balsowitz at the helm and the shed's going towards the street. How do we feel about that?
And it's impervious, right? The gazebo.
No, because it would be put up on those screw pilings. You screw them
Okay.
into the ground, so there, yes, the roof is impervious, but beneath it is not, so the water would go there.
Now
Where did you
what?
say it was where was the water going under the gazebo? Where is it, direction is it going?
It's going down, but the underneath, below the gazebo will be all stone.
Okay.
Can we come out a little bit, Steve, around, is it a round gazebo? Is it square? Is it octagon? What is it?
I labeled the dimensions of it right there on the plan. Didn't I?
You just got the plan today.
Well, can we come out from the sides of the gazebo about 10 inches so that where the roof line comes, it hits gravel and it dissipates that water energy?
We could put a stone drain around the outskirts of the gazebo itself. I believe it's 12 by 16 is what's proposed.
Yeah.
If you scale it, I see, I can't read. Hold on 1 minute.
I got a magnifier.
Look
It
at
really
this, he
helps.
can't even read his own, he can't even read his
The
own typing.
glasses. Get the other glasses.
Right. No, I got a magnifier just for these plans.
This is ridiculous. Where's SB2? Well, SB1
He's
is
better than me.
getting outdated. It's getting out.
Right, yeah.
No, I have to say that I went in for, I had injections in my eyes today.
Ah,
So everything's kind of blurry still. It's like 8 to 10 hours.
That's
But anyway,
Man, looking at plans is tough enough. You don't need injections to make
yeah,
it work.
your plans are tough.
no, this one's a good one. It's at 10
Yeah,
scale.
no, it's not bad, Steve.
It's at 10 scale. It's a 12 by 16 shed. If you scale it, it'll show
Okay.
up.
Now, if I remember correctly, I don't know if Mr. Scheifetz was here, is originally we were just talking about a covered patio here, and is the gazebo new? I'm just trying to remember.
Yes, no, he always proposed that. It's just that now he took it to the next step where I drew the plan to show
Okay.
where it's gonna be located. The spill kit and
Right.
the buffer zone lines.
He didn't have any of that 6 months ago.
Hold on 1 second. Perry,
Yep.
did you, I thought I remember at one point you were thinking of kind of almost like a farmer's porch thing that was going across. Did you abandon that idea?
So yeah, working with the builder and the architect.
Yeah.
Originally it was gonna be attached to the house, but they thought it would look better if it was detached.
Okay. All right. That's because that's what I'm trying to figure out is this was, because I'm thinking what we talked about, a year and a half, 2 years ago. So the gazebo that you're planning, is it gonna be just a round? Is it round? Is it octagon?
12 by 16 rectangular.
All right, so for that and for the shed, wherever the shed ends up, on the roof lines, as I said, can we get a sort of around the baseline, some gravel so that when the water comes off, it has a dissipator?
We don't have a problem with in your orders, amended orders, I don't know what it is. But in any event, in your amended orders, put that we surround the shed at the drip edge of the shed and the gazebo. Will put a 6-inch by 6-inch stone drain. So the water hits it and it'll seep down.
Okay.
Feel free to
Okay,
put
so
some
Steve, I
plants
do
in.
have one question. Looking at the drawings, the existing shed is shown half the size as the shed that's being relocated. I just want to confirm that it's just something wasn't scaled correctly?
No. We shot the corners of that shed, and let me get a scale. That shed is that shed is 8 by about 11. The proposed gazebo is 16 by 12.
I think what he's saying is you have the shed on here in two places and they don't look the same size.
Correct. So
It shouldn't be
the
this.
shed marked existing by contour line 480.
Yeah, right there.
And then when you move up to 497, the existing shed shall be relocated. It's twice the size. So that's where I want to confirm.
Oh, no, that shed down the bottom by the water is staying there. That's existing.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're not moving that shed. We're just moving the shed. And he wanted to take it down, but his daughter painted a mural on the side of it. And he wants to keep it. So we're
Okay.
just gonna relocate it, not down by the water, away from the 50-foot buffer zone.
okay.
So it's not moving that far. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Just out of the way.
All right. Commissioners, any other questions?
Only question, Steve, how did you end up getting stuck on a project this easy? That isn't like,
Fred,
You know, every now and then you have to get an easy one.
let's not jinx it. Let's not jinx it.
Right, yeah.
Especially with Mr. Chaffetz has been on our agenda for like a year, so let's not jinx it, okay? All right, so if there are no other questions, commissioners, it is a public hearing. I'm gonna open it up to the public. So to the public, any questions or public comment for 29 Bacon Road? Last call for questions on 29 Bacon Road. Commissioners, motion to close the hearing on 29 Bacon Road.
Joey, I'll make a
Motion-
motion to close the public hearing on 29 Bacon Road.
All right, Hayden with the first, and I think that was Robin. Did you
Robin, yeah, with the
second?
second.
Okay,
Yes.
Robin with the second.
Okay, Ms. Cirillo.
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
and Mr. Bach, just you missed the November 1st meeting on this, so I won't put your name on the order.
Okay,
All right.
Unless you want to do the Mullins rule, but that's up to you.
no, we got enough people to pass it without me.
Yeah.
All right, so motion to issue order of conditions for 29 Bacon Road.
Make the motion to issue the order conditions for 29 Beacon Road.
Joey, I'll second that.
Okay, Dan with the first, Hayden with the second. Hold on one moment. Robin, did you have a question?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No,
Oh, wait.
Like I
no,
said, I
I'm
missed the
sorry. No,
part of-
I'm sorry. My mouse was over you and it's a hand. I'm sorry. Okay,
no,
continue, Mary. Sorry.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach.
Abstain.
Thank you, Mr. Bach. Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right, Perry, thank you so much. And Steve, thank you very much. And it's great seeing you both.
Hey,
Thank you. Good night.
All right, have a great night,
Stay
guys.
safe.
Thank you. All right, so 70 Bates Point Road, this is the Shakely project. If anyone is on here, I did announce towards the beginning of the meeting that that has been continued to May 16th, which would be our next meeting. So, if you're waiting around for the Shakely project on 70 Bates Point Road, that will be on May 16th. There has been a continuance by Mr. Shakely.
Do we have to make a motion for that one?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Make the
should,
motion.
because it was supposed to be tonight. So can I get an official motion to continue 70 Bates Point Road to May 16th?
I will make the motion.
Michelle with the first,
Second,
Dan with the second.
Ms. Sherillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right, next item, I'm just gonna mention it, but it's continued to June 6th. This is Glenn Kravosky's project of 49 Arkwright Road and 30 Worcester Road, where he is restoring the historic gradient of the Millbrook. Anyone interested in that? That will be on June 6th. Doing a great job with that, trying to produce some great data at getting the gradient for the Millbrook restored to its historic gradient. So we'll hear that on June 6th. And then the next one is pushed out till next year, February 24th, 2023. This is 1 Wakefield Ave. Mr. Flynn, Mr. Gonaware, and this is removal of built up sand, which has formed a delta at the mouth of a stream at 1 Wakefield Ave. So that is not until next year, as that requires some heavy permits. So we are now on to discussion items of new business, new and old, and I want to make an announcement that under discussion items of new business and old, I will not be taking comments from the public on either. First item is due to a vacancy of Clarissa Johnson, who was a voting member of the Conservation Commission. She is not seeking reappointment due to conflicts with school. As she is a college student. Clarissa gave many years to the commission, and I want to openly thank her for her involvement and the time that she did give to the board when she could. So I want to first say, mention that. It was by town hall requested that the alternate Karen Bartholomew be voted on by the board to by recommendation of the board advance into the voting member seat. That obviously is not an official vote to put her in that seat. That just puts the stamp of approval of the board for Karen to go to the select board, and the select board makes that decision. So is there any discussion from the commission as to Karen's on Karen's moving to voting?
The one suggestion that I would have is that she should immediately do the conflict of interest if she hasn't already, because I did see some letters that were kind of questioning that. So the selectman would definitely want to know that she has taken the course.
Yes, as just for anyone that is on the line, anyone that works in public service, whether you are a pollster, whether you're a bus driver, whether you are somebody that takes tickets in town hall, everyone has to go through ethics training and everyone has to go through open meeting law training. So it's required every few years. And I've had that conversation with Karen. Karen has already completed, I believe, both. Karen is a retired, longtime civil engineer with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. So Karen is not just somebody that just doesn't know what she's getting into. She understands how to read plans. She understands how to work across the table. And she's been quite the member on this board. In my profession, I work with boards from all the way from Mount Washington, Massachusetts to Adams, Massachusetts to Falmouth and to Provincetown. For my job, I help train and develop conservation commissions as a profession, and Karen has what it takes. And she asks the right questions. She knows what to look for. And, you know, I have had conversations with folks in the townhouse, and they have seen Karen in various meetings and have noticed the type of member that she is as an alternate. You know, I was, you know, a bit, I'll be honest with you, I was a bit upset and a bit peeved with some letters and emails that came through, but folks have the right to opinion, they have the right to voice concern, and I welcome that, no matter which side of the coin that you may be on. But where there's talent, we need talent. We need folks that are able to make decisions that are, you know, informed decisions. With that, I want to recommend that Karen be put forth for voting member to the select board on May 9th. So I would need someone to second that, please.
Joey, can I just say a couple of things?
Absolutely. Any commissioner that has input.
Yeah, again, everything you say, ditto, completely feel the same way as you do. And I just want to, you know, some of the concerns in our neighborhood, you know, we're on the board here to do the Wetland Protections Act. And if you notice, many of the people in the town, as well as our commission, live on the lake. And there are a lot of disputes, and many of us had to recuse ourselves for the same reason that Karen's neighbors are asking her. And I do think she should recuse herself for those issues. But it's a common issue. But as you said, she will do that. I agree with her neighbors that for those two houses, she should recuse herself from voting. However, she is a fantastic candidate. But I know these things get testy. I've been in some myself. I've had to recuse myself. And it's something that we just have to do in a small town commission when the main conservation is a body of water that people are very active in the community on. So just, you know, just say, you know, for the people at Point, we're not listening to you. In fact, we are listening to you, and we really do need somebody like Karen who knows who knows her stuff. And two, she's going to recuse herself for the issues in her neighborhood.
Yes. It does bring back to the tradition something that we used to have. When I started, we actually had an engineer from CME sitting in at all the meetings. We had an engineer, and when he left, the town just never replaced him.
Yes, so board makeup is, having a diverse board makeup is really, really important. And that is, that's a valuable thing, especially in a board like this that is making decisions based on, you know, regulations that were written by the state that we take an oath to uphold and to implement. So, you know, so it's not always easy to sit in the seat of a conservation commissioner, a planning board member, a selectman. And it's, you know, you can go from being top of the world one day to being on the bottom of the pack the next. And it's the wave that we all, it's the wave that we all ride. But, you know, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't put someone forward if I didn't think that they could effectively do the job. And, you know, Karen, really, I definitely think she has more than what it takes. I've seen her in the field on site visits. I've seen her looking at plans, you know, and she has made the commitment that recusals will happen when they need to happen. And we're gonna get, Karen's gonna go through some training with the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, which Robin is a recent graduate of. Michelle is a graduate of, I am a graduate of, and Dan has taken some classes with, so that our board can run effectively. So making better informed decisions. So with that, folks, can we get a second on advancing Karen to the select board for filling our position?
I second that.
Okay.
All right, so Dan and I think Robin both
You can have it,
simultaneously.
Dan, you can have it, Dan. Okay.
Okay. Dan's got that. Mary, please pull the board.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
and I vote yes too, even though I can't vote.
Yay, Mary.
It's you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so Karen, I guess you accept the recommendation of going to the Board of Selectmen to be appointed.
Absolutely. And thank you for your support.
Thank you. All right. So next on the agenda, thank you. Dominic Drive, Mary, we have trash in a wetland, Conkle Ave area.
Yeah, so I had a homeowner call me and basically say that she had cleaned up, I don't know, 2 or 3 bags of trash just from stuff blowing. And it ends up like against the conservation area at the edge of her yard.
I know that area.
Yeah.
Michelle and I did Earth Day down there a couple of years ago. We know that area real well.
Yes, we do.
So I don't know, not that we have a lot of time for doing letters or something. It seems like some way of maybe a little article in the paper for that neighborhood, or I don't know whether those people are on the Facebook forum for the lake, but just a reminder to make sure your trash cans are closed, because we don't want that trash. I mean, they shouldn't be cleaning up the neighborhood's trash. And
is it bags of trash?
Sounds like it was a couple bags worth. You know, this is like a spring cleanup type thing, you know, just, but it all ended up in their yard for whatever reason, the wind and whatever.
Okay. That area has been on my monitoring list because there's, you know, as we know, we have CRs down in that whole area.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a plethora of issues down there. Why don't,
Maybe we should do a walkabout and check that
we
one
should
out sometime.
probably, yeah, we should probably consider, maybe on, I mean, I would be open to on a site visit day, maybe grabbing Dan and doing a whole afternoon, maybe a 12 to 4, walk and knock, how you doing? Throwing stuff over there. Dan would do it. Dan would give up his whole afternoon. I know he would.
Well, was there going to be pizza?
That reminds me of when we tried that on Loveland. Do we want to try that again?
Sure.
Yeah, now, why don't we, let's think about this, and if folks have, ideas, why don't we email them to Mary? But I think it's probably gonna take some sort of, maybe putting some pamphlets and maybe, Mary, just something brief that, you know, notice we're recognizing this in your neighborhood, and that pamphlet that I came up with, just pop that in there. You know, recognize that you've got conservation restriction land in your neighborhood, and be mindful of, you know, just these 5 things or something like that. Just to start, and then if we continue to see a problem, you know, we can, you know, up it one more game. You know, we've got a few neighborhoods that have situations like this, and we just gotta kind of find a way to work with them. Commissioners, any comments or suggestions now? We're gonna digest it a little bit.
I'd help out with an afternoon like that. But again, I think Mary's thing, I'll be happy to, again, if somebody words it, because I'm really in the middle of a lot of stuff, to put it on Webster Lake Life Forum. You know, just,
I don't want to single, the thing is, folks, is I don't want to kind of single out a neighborhood, but singling it, you know, I think, you know, like, I hate to call them regions, but like, I think that's called Sunnyside Estates. You know, maybe the Sunnyside Estates area of town. You know, kind of just saying this area of town, it kind of catches people's attention, and maybe, you know, rather, you know, I don't want to. It's not, you know, because some folks might be on a street where it's not even their problem, but I can't tell you, the little nip bottles are a problem all over town.
right. Like I said, I don't know why there's not more pride in where you live, because when I go for walks on Kildare, I don't take a Santa Claus knapsack, but I do, if I see a beer can or one thing, I'll take it, and the next trash can, I'll pick it up. You know, it's my neighborhood.
Seeing how we're talking about something like this, Mary, we gotta work with the state on making sure that the porta potty goes in the right location at the state boat ramp this year. And there really needs to be a sign over next to that wetland that says wetland, no stowage or store, you know. And we should probably I gotta talk to Kenny about something else anyway.
I think there's a sign there that says no parking by that wetland. And last year they did put the porta potty in the right place.
They did.
Yep.
But I think we had to talk to them and make sure, but I think we had to ask them to move it, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And they came up with a new place. So I expect it to be in the same new place, but I'll keep an eye on that. Mary doesn't have to do that.
Michelle, your expectations, and I work in conjunction with the state, your expectations are high.
Yes, they are.
All right, so moving on to 56 Worcester Road, we had a great meeting with Glenn, Mary, on that, you know, obviously that situation that's going on behind the optical eyeglass place. Glenn was talking, moving that all back 10 feet. I think the board you know, of course, we didn't talk about anything because it's open meeting law, but I could kind of tell by the look on faces when I looked around, it needs to come back further. We're probably thinking there's a pin, a pink pin, and there's an old filter, an old mulch sock there. That fill that they filled in the wetland needs to come back probably about that point. And then I believe it was Dan that talked about a 3-to-1 grade that should be capped with a lot of that rock. There's a lot of granite that he dug out of there. Glenn was very boisterous and said, hey, whatever you guys want, whatever, you know, I'm just here to get that stuff out of the damaged wetland. We're gonna pop in, he's got a plan to pop in plants and restore the damaged wetland that's down there. There was a huge pile of loam. That loam was gonna be getting out of there. It's actually an interesting area. The railway from the old Grand Trunk runs through there along the transmission corridor. And Glenn actually showed us where the cattle, when that was the old poor farm, part of the poor farm before the highway was in there. And the cattle used to go down and underneath the railroad tracks. It's kind of a historic area in there. It's really, really interesting. One of those forgotten spots, you know. But Glenn's gonna get a plan together. It was a nice conversation with him. And then he was going to jump in his Porsche SUV and off to Concord he was. So, commissioners, am I right? I mean, it was a good conversation with Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn was very amenable to, he actually was the first one that mentioned running it as a 3-to-1 slope because he didn't feel that 2-to-1 was applicable in that area.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I was amazed at how fast and how quick. I mean, how much, I mean, we're talking dump trucks of fill that just got thrown over in there. But you know, the gentleman is very willing to work with us, very appreciative of that. You know, that's, you know, let's hope it remains that way.
So do we need to make a recommendation to Glenn as to how far back from the wetland line he should go in addition to the 3-to-1 grade?
Well, the 3-to-1 grade is what we would like. Obviously restoration plantings are what we'd like. He was, you know, Glenn, I mean, he was spewing stuff out mile a minute because he was in a hurry. But you know, we would like, I mean, that's gonna come back at least 25 feet. I was trying to calculate it in my head. I mean, obviously I didn't have a tape measure, but I mean, it'd be hard to measure it anyway. But Glenn should, you know, it's up to Glenn as the restoration, you know, scientist to figure out how, you know, what that distance is. But, you know, I was looking at just, you know, where the old, you know, erosion control was at one point, but, you know, there really should be an erosion control, even if it's temporary for now. Doesn't necessarily need to be dug in, but just something across there now, because, you know, God forbid if someone were to walk up on that site and, you know, if they were, you know, kids playing around up there, you never know who might be up on there. If they were to fall off of that, I mean, the way that the granite and various other types of rock just shattered. I mean, it's literally jagged. It could kill you if you fell down that. It would stab you to death. It's a little frightening. And I mean, it goes down at least 50 feet, you know, a little less than that.
just for your information, Mary, in case you didn't hear it already, Glenn's plan was, well, first of all, he needs to remove that pile of loom and move it back to kind of like the opposite corner, kitty corner, to get it so they can go get access to the slope. And then because the slope is so high, they're going to have to like terrace it because the excavator won't reach all the way to the bottom. So there's going to be a lot of stuff moving around there. And then eventually they'll get back to making a smoother slope. But so they'll be digging and moving a lot of stuff for very soon, I guess.
So he's gonna come up with a plan and then, and do we give him guidance as to how far it comes back in the end? I mean,
Glenn, I think, is working on that. And of course, you know, his son is, you know, he was ragging on his son while he was with us. So. But he's gonna work on that. You know, if, you know, we don't hear anything from him, maybe by, you know, the early part of next week, maybe we touch base with him. Knowing Glenn, he's probably gonna, you know, figure it all out. But he was, you know, kind of in a rush to get out of there. He had to obviously get to another site that was far away, so.
so he's gonna present something that you guys will approve and we don't really need to vote in anything tonight.
Nope.
No, and, you know, I think that, you know.
Actually, didn't we discuss giving him a e-cert to move the loam and the trees because they were in imminent danger going in?
Yeah, because we put an enforcement order on this, Mary, I think, and you know, yeah, that is true, Fred. We should give him an emergency cert, Mary. That should be a good way to open up conversation with him. And e-cert to remove all that loam out of there, and then any trees that are, you know, there are trees obviously that got buried, and unfortunately they're not going to be savable. So if they're in the way of trying to restore that wetland, you know, he can at least get in there under an e-cert. And of course, you know, he'll be doing the proper filings that will come afterwards, so that will, you know, Glenn knows that mechanism, so. So do we want to put a vote on e-cert for Glenn?
We might have Chris with us tonight. He's got, someone has their hand up.
Oh. Does the person with their hand up want to unmute?
Yes, please.
Yeah, who's this?
Hi, this is Chris Lindstrom. I'm the.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm very good, and thank you for hearing me. And I want to thank you guys for the work you do. And I want to stay out of the way, but I want to give you a little background because I made a mistake and I wasn't there Saturday. And I just want to, first of all, apologize, and I'm embarrassed. I've been a resident of Webster and Dudley, lived in Webster for a long time, and then Dudley since 80s when I finished playing football. And so I love the community, and I'm sure you know my boys. We love Webster. Webster's been good to us. And you also know my wife was born in Webster and you know, lived her whole life here, and she passed away in December. And
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I was not involved in the project, and I'm not given responsibility. I take responsibility, and I'll put it the way Glenn and you guys tell me to put it. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm sorry, and I love the town. I'm going to do what it takes. Okay, that's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
We greatly appreciate that, Mr. Lindstrom, and you know, we talked with Glenn, and we told, you know, we understand, you know, people make mistakes, and you know, we're happy that you're working with us, and you know, we're here to work with you. You're working with us. There, you know, no hard feelings. we just want you to work with us on correcting what needs to be
Well,
corrected there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Glenn's a good guy. He'll get things under control there, and you know, we'll set up some parameters and kind of, you know, they'll have to just stay away from that area. And then-
Absolutely.
so,
Yeah. I just want to say thank you and let you know that I'm embarrassed. That's all.
No, don't feel embarrassed, please. People make mistakes, you know, and we understand that. We're here to help you along. So
Okay, thank you.
And you have the board's condolences about Dawn.
Yeah,
She was a great
absolutely.
person. I knew her our whole life.
It's
I'm Michael Summer's cousin.
it's horrible, and it's just horrible. I just can't, you know, it's horrible. You know, it's and I'm the kids have the property now. I gave it to the kids, but I'm trying to help. I'm trying to clean up the mess before. But it's just I can't do anything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for talking about that. I apologize.
It's you know, your kids have any questions, you reach out to us. We'll help you out whenever we can. And you take care of yourself, and you get two golden boys there. So cheer them on. Cheer them on.
Well, they represent all of us too. So they feel that every time they go out there. So they know it.
Good. All right. Very nice,
Thanks.
Mr. Lindstrom. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Okay, commission. So, boy, that's tough. That's tough. All right. So, the e-cert for the Lindstrom property, 56 Worcester Road. Can we get a motion?
The e-cert is just to move that pile of loam and any dead trees. It's just
Yes, any
moving.
trees that got kind of trampled and crushed and are in the way. Yep.
Yeah, it's the pile of loam was the subject of the discussion, because there are trees hanging out, kind of laying on it, and that's all loose soil, and that's probably at least a 1-to-1 slope. So if we get a good rain, it's going to go straight in.
Yeah.
Why it would be reasonable to do a e-cert for this to remove an imminent problem.
And that's 56 Worcester Road, right?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to approve an e-cert for 56 Worcester Road.
I'll second that, Joey.
Thank you. And I would just add Mary in there, and those who just motioned it, just a condition in there, Mary, that wherever, whether it's moved or wherever it goes, it needs some erosion controls around it.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be treated like a stockpile area.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Hayden. Go ahead, Mary.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duteau,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lindstrom. Thank you, Commissioner, for that one. All right, so 114 Worcester Road. This is the LaPlante property.
Hey, Joey, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can we take this out of order? Because I know people are waiting for the 20 Point Pleasant.
Sure, yeah. All right. Drop that to the bottom. All right, so we've got 24 Point Pleasant here. This is discharge into Webster Lake. And we have a representative for 24 Point Pleasant.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
This is Karen. I live at 30 Point Pleasant.
Okay.
And I will be recusing myself from this discussion.
Yes.
And if I have any discussion, I'll be acting on behalf of myself as a private citizen and not on behalf of the board.
Yes, so be it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And do we have a representative for 24 Point Pleasant?
Yes, I'm Melanie Amir.
Hi, Melanie. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Are you the resident?
Yes,
Okay. All right. So you're the resident at 24. Okay.
I am. Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
I want to just give a little history. My grandparents bought this very small piece of land and cottage before World War II. My grandparents lived in Webster and my father grew up in Webster. My family's been coming to Webster Lake for the summer for almost 100 years. And we've enjoyed the lake, the town, the restaurants, the library, the stores, and I've always been welcomed in at home for the 4 months that we're here. We've been good neighbors and the neighbors have been good to us. We received the first notice about the water discharge being an issue on Monday, March 28th, late in the day. You can see when it was received as we had to sign for it. And we were told we needed to do something about this before April 1st at midnight. This gave us only 3 days. We're very sorry if it appeared that we had ignored this issue, as that was not our intent. I had just had major surgery a few weeks earlier and was still recovering at home. And my husband is a 100% disabled jet fighter pilot veteran. We were concerned about being in compliance with the board, and we hired a lawyer to respond to your request because we were unable to do much at that time. We were spending money to assist us in knowing how to proceed. We were never trying to ignore the commission. I spoke to my 90-year-old mother about what she and my dad put in when they put in the sump pump, and she stated they did this with a reputable company and all was done legally. She stated that there are water springs under the property and this recycles the lake water back into the lake. This is supported by the data from the laboratory report. After the pumps were put in the basement, the neighbors stated that this was beneficial for them as they had no more flooding in their basement as well. The sump pump has been working for more than 20 years. We have an abundance of fish in the cove, and the fishermen come in the cove often to fish in the early morning. It took over 3 weeks to find a company that would come to the property to test the water. We wanted to make sure that the company was reliable and could process what we needed. The water was tested on April 18th, and we received the results 10 days later on Wednesday, April 27th. The test results were given to Agent Mary Overhaul, and it's clearly lake water going back to the lake. I hear and understand there's a concern about the sump pump drainage into the lake. We're really concerned about the drainage that comes from the street runoff with the salt, sand, and oil, and want to know about testing of that. I have some documents. I don't know if Agent Overhaul has those documents.
The water results?
No, the documents of the street and yep, document number 1.
Okay, let me just check.
Okay.
Was this submitted via email or what he had handed me when he came in?
He gave it to you on a flash drive.
Okay. Oh, right. I think Kelly had that. All right, let me find that. You can go ahead and talk. It may take me a minute.
All right. Well, there's actually like 4 in a row. So there's the first document is of the street drain right on Point Pleasant.
Oh, I've got it right here. I'll put it up.
Thank you.
There we go. Yep.
All right. Well, I don't see it, but maybe other people do. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Right there.
Yep. So that's the street drain. And that goes right from Point Pleasant Road, right under the ground and into the lake.
Do you want the next one now?
Next one.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. See the arrow right there? That's where it actually comes in from the street drain under the ground to the cove. It leads right into the lake. Then Document 3. So that's actually the one that's coming right in from the underground. You can see that there's oil spillage that comes into the lake from the street. And then document 4.
That's not necessarily oil.
No, but we've
Oh, she's concerned.
I can tell you it's not necessarily oil.
Okay.
It looks like organic breakdown.
Okay. So salt and tar and oil from cars, dirt from the street, and people can wash their cars on the street. It comes right into the lake right there. So every spring, when we open our property, we clean the area, the cove, and you can put in document 5.
Sorry, it's slow loading. This must be a big picture.
I don't know.
Ms. Amir, are you replacing the sun pump, the one you've had for 20 years?
No, it's working fine.
Okay.
So I know it's loading slowly, so I'm just going to talk about it. There's leaves in this photo, and you can see, oh, interesting photo. But that wasn't on ours.
Oh, that wasn't yours. Okay, I'm sorry.
That.
Shall I try document 6?
I'll just talk about it because that document 6 is the rake that we use. But it's document 5 is the leaves in the photo, and you can see when the there's in the cove there's much less water movement. So the foliage does go there, and you can see that we rake and we clean the area, and that's the rake for the algae. So the lake has been receding a bit, and the last
For algae?
Yeah, from the leaves.
Algae comes from leaves?
No, it doesn't.
Well, I just asked a question.
Well, I mean, when we clean up the leaves in the area of the cove.
So water that seeps through people's lawns that use chemicals, and then you pump it out of your sump pump and dump it into the lake. It doesn't, there's no phosphorus or any kind of compounds like that in it.
No, there wasn't.
When the sun hits it, it doesn't create any kind of algae.
All right. Yeah, we have the results. I gave it to Agent Overhaul, and the phosphorus is very, very low.
It's still there.
Okay, I can't argue with him. All right.
Do we have that, Mary?
I mean,
Did you
well, I
send
mean,
that to
you're
us?
laughing, so humor me.
No, do you want me to continue, or you want?
I would love for you to continue.
Okay. This cove, I don't know if you guys know the history, but it was initially a swamp. And my grandparents bought this property. The cove was dredged and is now fairly clean. It's one of the cleanest coves like this in the lake. And it appears that Karen has been targeting only her immediate neighbors.
We're not talking about other people. We're talking about your situation. So we're not naming names. I don't care if it's Karen. I don't care if it's your name, any kind of neighbor. We're not naming names. Talking about your problem.
She's the one who brought the complaint to the commission.
And we're now.
Many neighbors do that.
I actually, hold on. Everything goes through me as the chairman.
Okay.
I have been on a construction project that is next to you, and I have witnessed and filmed what I have seen in your cove.
Okay.
So we're talking about what's coming off of your property. So continue on with your lab analysis, and we're talking about your problem.
I'm not, I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you the exact breakdown of what is what is the chemicals and what the levels are, but I can tell you that they compared it to old lake water and said it was equivalent. So I can't tell you what these numbers mean. Maybe if there's one of you can. I am not an expert in this.
Okay. So with this data and all of this, I mean, what are you looking to get? I mean, you're trying to prove something here. What are you trying to prove?
Well, we were told we had to do this.
Who told you that?
Joey, can I jump in for a second?
Sure, go right ahead.
Ms. Amir, at one point, your lawyer's response to us, he mentioned, and I don't have it in front of me, so I may not quote things exactly, but he mentioned that there is a permit for private property to discharge directly into the lake. And he and you were going to look into getting one of those permits, and then we never heard any more about that. So can you bring us up to date on that?
Yes, so that is in the plans. We did the water, made sure that it was okay. And then we are planning on getting a permit.
And which permit would that be?
I believe it's the Nippities.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a Nippities permit being issued to a resident to be able to discharge to any water body in what is known as waters of the United States.
Yeah, there is such a permit, Joey. When I saw the lawyer's letter, I looked it up, and it didn't give all the specifics, but it was specifically addressed at private property discharge directly into a body of water.
The lawyer has told us that there is exactly what you just said, Mr. Duteau, that there is a ability to get a permit for this in a private property.
It was only for special cases like this, where it's a sump pump, you know.
Okay, so where are we in that process? But in the interim, you don't have any special permit.
Right.
And you don't have a cap on that blue pipe. And so what have you done with, where's the water going now?
It's going, so we saw the rules from the commission. We had the water tested. We redirected the pump to our grass for now to comply with the decision until we get the permit.
Okay.
And so, we're aware that other people have the sump pumps working and they're still working on getting permits and would like to reinstate the lake water back to the lake while waiting for the permit.
We're not talking about other people. We're talking about the situation that's at 24 Point Pleasant.
Okay. Well, we want to follow the rules. We want to have it be fair.
We want to make you compliant. That's what this board wants to do. We want to make you compliant. We're not trying to be super hard here, but I mean, it seems like it's become kind of a testy situation, and we don't need it to be a testy situation. Where, we're pulling up graphs and pulling up data and all sorts of, this board doesn't allow any kind of pumping of anything into our lake. Our board takes pride in not allowing discharge and erosion. We minimize erosion. You just sat through a meeting and heard us permitting projects. And one thing that the one thread through every single one of those projects is, where's the water going? Because in a changing climate and in a changing world right now, we're trying to minimize the amount of runoff and the amount of discharge that's going into our lake. Because with the Webster Lake Association's aquatic invasive removal, that's the one thing that we can do and we can work with them on, is to minimize the amount of stuff that's going into the lake to keep the water as clean as possible. So what we would need from you is to get a cap on that blue pipe and render that blue pipe like off. And if it's not already off, it needs to be off, and we need a cap on it. That would be my first recommendation. And the second one is to, I mean, you've got that pipe going out onto the lawn, but how far away from the water's edge is that pipe?
I don't know how many feet.
I mean, because the other angle of it is you can't necessarily send your water, you know, under the new regs for MS4. You're not supposed to send your stormwater into town storm drains. So you gotta keep the water on your property, and you gotta get it into the ground.
Mr. Chairman, I hear you. I want to let you know that I did some research and listened to some of your past meetings. And so I heard people say other people are discharging into the lake with their sump pumps. There's a lot of people with sump pumps at Worcester Lake, some in the cove and in the lake in general. I know I'm not comparing to anyone else, but to be fair, how come some people are doing it and some people are not doing it? And I've heard people say on the commission, other people are doing it and waiting for their permit.
Mr. Chairman.
No. Yes.
If anyone else on the lake is doing that, I would like their addresses, because I would follow the process that we're following right now.
And I mean, I would be happy to let them know that you had mentioned them, Melanie. I mean, you know, that's what I always tell people. I mean, if someone wants to make a mention of somebody else, I mean, I'm always willing to let them know that, hey, somebody let us know.
I think the point that's being missed is that we would take an equal hand to anyone who is dumping anything into the lake. It is not a favorite. It's not okay on one cove and not another cove. This is a pretty straight down the line decision for us. There are probably others. We just haven't caught them yet.
Ms. Mayor, one thing I want to comment on, so I was listening very intently to what you said, and I can absolutely relate to your family being here for 100 years. My great-grandfather was Arthur Casalt. His son was Noel, your neighbors, Mr. Zala's. And okay, when you say neighbors here frequently call on other neighbors, I'm personally, as a commissioner, really happy that you just said other people are pumping into the lake, because I want what Michelle said, that we, as well as the road. I'm involved in another group that looks into rain gardens in other ways, so I'm glad of that. But I have to say, can't be, if you love the lake, like you're saying, and you have the history, if someone goes by your house and sees this, the fact that they want to know what kind of water you're dumping into the lake, I'm surprised that you're surprised. That we would all who care about the lake, it just doesn't look good when you got a pipe. We don't know there's not chlorine. We don't know it's not cleaning products. No one knows that until they investigate it.
Right, so that's why
I'm a little surprised that if you, with your personal history, that you feel a little, offended that a neighbor would be, or anybody who goes by there would be concerned. Because I know if I would do it, people have told me about 5 years ago, I was, doing grass and I think you're gonna hurt the lake. I immediately stopped. I want to know if I'm doing anything. I've been on this lake, I was born 4 houses away from here, 66 years ago. So again, if I'm doing anything, my family's doing anything, people I know, don't know, I'm going to report them too.
Right, I agree with you. I wouldn't want to do harm to the lake at all. That's why we did the water testing.
Okay, but we didn't know, nobody knew that when they see dumping out. And there's a lot of things that come from homes that isn't supposed to be put in the lake. So I would think that you would be a forerunner, not being defensive, that your water is being evaluated. I would think that you'd say, gee, I'm glad you pointed it out, that, or you should have known it before, that people are going to be concerned about that. Go ahead. Sorry, Fred.
That's okay. I would also point out that the reason that it became of concern to us is we saw pictures in early March of algae growing, which is kind of an indicator that something is going into the lake that shouldn't be. And the first step is to find out what it is and why it's going in there. Yes, it's not a singling out, it's we had algae where it shouldn't have been growing, when it shouldn't have been growing.
And that is what caught my eye.
So I spoke to my neighbor who on the other side who lives there full time, and he actually saw people on the land looking at it, and he said, and 2 days later it was gone. But either way, we're there 4 months a year, so there's the rest of the months that nothing's happening except for the pump. There's no dishes being done. There's no machines. There's nothing else. It just straight from the. It's
But
right.
you're gonna. But the thing is, you gotta remember, Melanie, is what you're saying is you're pumping the groundwater, and obviously the groundwater table there, it's high. So someone could be 10 doors down and they could be using fertilizers. They probably shouldn't be, but they could be using fertilizers. Someone 4 doors down, 3 streets or 2 streets over could be using fertilizers. Someone could be on a lot of medication. All that stuff is in that groundwater table, and your sump is grabbing it and sucking it up and throwing it out into the lake. And what you really kind of want is that stuff to, I know it sounds crazy, but you kind of want that stuff to stay sort of in the substrate, so that it sort of does that filtering aspect for some time, so that it kind of just sort of settles. And yeah, I mean, everyone's got a sump pump around the lake. I mean, it's, but to have it directly just continue to discharge constantly in there, it's just not, we can't have it. I mean, it's against the wetlands regs to have that happen. So what we need to do is we need to have you stop, tap that. You've got it jigged, and you've got that other angled pipe you said on it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But how far away between where it's coming out and the lake is it? Is it still, I mean, it's still obviously pointing at the lake, right?
Well, how far does it need to be?
I mean, it should be a decent distance so that when the water comes out, it's not just being still thrown at the lake, but just 4 feet back. Yeah, you gotta give this some time to get into the ground. Something like that really should be, I mean, it's almost like you need some sort of, you'd need some sort of specialist that could really look at, all right, the groundwater table here is high, and could a small dry well work here? Probably not, because what you're pumping out, you're putting in a dry well, and you're basically doing this cyclical thing. So it's almost like, what would be the best solution for a small property?
Well, given the fact that it's nitrates, looks like the primary thing that's getting picked up, what would probably work best would be a small rain garden, because now you have plants that can actually use those particular nutrients so they don't go straight into the lake.
Yeah.
This nitrates indicates that there is probably fertilizer from your neighbors that's being carried along and into your property, into your sump pump, and into the lake.
Actually, you know what, Fred, for properties like Melanie's, they make those biofilters, those bio boxes, like I was talking about earlier with Mr. Laramie, for properties that are small and have high water tables, where you dig it into the ground. It's about, I mean, it can be, 18 inches by 24 or whatever. It pumps into this bio box, and there's biological media that breaks down, or it filters out a lot of those contaminants pretty quick. And it's a relatively, inexpensive route rather than going through, when your attorney said that you were going for a Nippity's permit, I was like, Nippity's permits are typically for shopping malls or typically for solar fields. I was like, okay, and I'm glad you're on tonight so that we can talk about this,
So can you send
and
me
I'm so,
information about the bio box? Because I'm very interested in that.
we can definitely dig up some stuff. Let me look at work because I have a file at work on biofiltration. I have to think of the name of the company, and I think the name of the company, if you want to write it down, I think it's called Storm Treat, and I think they're out of Providence. And they actually make them for streets. But you can use them in your yard. And they're called, I think another company is called Biomax. And there are different companies. There's one company I usually sometimes mention it. It's called Hydrobrass Technologies on Route 20 in Oxford. They sell all sorts of kind of stuff like that. But we can get you some names so you can research some of this stuff. But I think honestly, Melanie, something like that would probably benefit you. You just have a professional dig this thing into your backyard and it would just pump it into this bio box.
Yep.
And then you don't have to worry about this thing going into the lake, pumps it into this box. The media, sometimes I think the life on the media is like 5 years. And then all you do is you lift it up and you replace the media. It's almost like a fish tank. It works just like a fish tank. You replace this media that's in it, and you just put new media in it, and it's clean.
Okay, well, I wish I knew about that earlier.
Well, now it's a good thing. This doesn't have to be adversarial. It really
But
doesn't.
yeah, I was talking about
Okay.
I was talking about the composition of a board, and here you are. You got the environmental science nerd talking about it right here. So let me see some information that I could probably get you on that. Oh, I'll definitely, I know I got some stuff at my office. I'm only in my office once a week though. So let me see what we can get you.
Thank you.
And I hope you're better. And I thank your husband for his service to the country.
Yeah.
And I would press upon you to please at least for now, put a cap on that blue. They sell them at Home Depot. Just get a cap on that blue pipe, please. And then we'll research those bio boxes and get you down the right road for that. There's a lot of companies in the area that are specializing in green infrastructure right now, and that's considered green infrastructure.
Okay.
And by the way, your project may end up on our website as a way of helping to improve the lake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that the next person isn't surprised by this.
Yeah.
They have a resource to look at.
And thanks for showing those road pictures, because that's going to be my next project for the new rain gardens after we get off Memorial Beach. That was great. Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
So, Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Is there something that can be done now to slow that water down or put it into the ground a little better? Some interim thing that you can think of?
Probably, I'm thinking probably a concrete, a rock dissipator.
See,
of some,
great minds think alike.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking what they do with rain chains, which is they put them in a bucket with some stone and they put some holes in the bucket and it acts almost like a rain barrel.
Yeah, I would
and
think,
sprinkles.
yeah, that would be a decent fix for now, Melanie. And you can probably at Home Depot, or Lowe's, whatever is convenient for you, probably, or a nursery. They make the buckets with the holes in them, put some stone in there and have that go in there. It'll slow the water down a little bit and allow it to perk. It'll get onto the lawn And then the water will just go into the ground, at least for now.
Okay,
And you
Okay.
can make your own with a Home Depot bucket and a drill, and some stone.
all right, thank you.
Your grass will be much greener in that area, by the way.
It will prevent the erosion because it'll
With
slow
the
the water
nutrients,
down.
yeah. All right, folks. Melanie, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Are you
Okay.
okay with everything now? Did you understand our explanation?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Mary, anything further? You got everything there?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
All right. And Melanie, please, if there's any questions, you know, you need clarification, please reach out to us. We're willing to stop by there if you need. You know, we can work with you on this, okay?
All right, thank you.
I'll find that stuff on the bio box,
All right,
okay?
thank you.
All right. Thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Have a great evening. Thank you. All right. You want to go back to 114, Mary?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think any of the other issues have people waiting for them.
Okay.
Thanks for pushing. I should have put
Not a
that
problem.
earlier.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, so 114 Worcester Road, this is removing junk from property and specifically out of the wetland area. You'll know this particular property. This is across from the paintball property. This is been a problem property in the town, but more now under conservation's radar because of what we have seen from the roadway. We did send a letter, as everyone knows, we did receive a letter back from the trustee of that property's attorney, stating that we had trespassed. I don't know how we can be accused of that when photographs were from the street, but anyway, we were also with DOT to fix a major problem on Route 12. But everyone in town, I'm sure, that drives past past Harborough on Route 12 will know this property because there's an 18-wheeler trailer that is sitting right in a stream bed. Yep, there it is. Sitting right in the stream bed, as well as many other vehicles strewn throughout the property, all sitting in a stream that is, whenever it rains heavily, it fills up and runs under Route 12. And this is going to be in over the next few months. The state is going to be in here to work to clear out the culvert is just to the sort of northwest of that number 3 there. It goes underneath over towards the paintball. And then, of course, you can see the stream channel there where Mary has got the pointer, and it runs all the way down to the French River. Of course, we've got encroachment on both properties where paintball is, and you can see that fluffy blue area there. That means that there's a wetland. So we've got connective hydrology all throughout here. So we just need to work with these residents. Of course, we tried to extend the olive branch to what is known as the LaPlante Brothers property here, and accusations began to come out. So nothing has moved. It has fallen off the radar. I feel that at this point we should issue enforcement on this property that will send the indicator to the state that we are seeking enforcement on this property to have everything removed from the stream channel. And any debris, car part, which is mainly what you find in this area. And have the state's backing on this if we need it. So,
Joey,
yes.
quick question for you.
Mhm.
Anyone else on the board? A lot of towns and villages have requirements for junkyards to be licensed. And given the number of abandoned vehicles, this is probably qualifying as a junkyard. And it may be possible that we can get another agency in the town to give us a backup on it.
Well, I believe when the town passed the public, I think it's under the public nuisance property ordinance, or not ordinance because we're not a city, but bylaw. This was one of the properties that they were going after, and I believe the town has been trying to get them compliant. They did some work in the front of the building at getting rid of some, some vehicles and bus. I think they moved a bus and stuff, and they kind of just rejigged some things around and cleared some stuff out. But as you can see from this orthographic photo, not much has. I mean, this property is loaded. I can't imagine the amount of contaminants that are in the soils. It's a mess. I think that it would be prudent with this property that we consider, for our own sake as well, to do a water sample at the outfall on the opposite side of the road. So the water wraps around the property, goes underneath these two, there's two trailers right here where it says 403 and then it ducks underneath there. But on the other side of the roadway there's two really nice culverts and the water just spills over, and I think we should do a collection sample there and see what kind of pollutants are coming off of the site. It would be a good idea. See what kind of levels of stuff, because this, yeah.
If we're going to test at the outfall, should we test before it goes in through the property?
Well, we'll need to do one.
So we have a baseline of what's coming in and what's going out.
Yeah, we'll have to do one upstream. We'll have to, I wouldn't want to do it next to the highway, but we'll have to see the property owner is the land in the back there too. So we need to do it on the state property. Or
which is up by the highway.
Yeah, ask Mary, is that town property right here at 45?
That one right there.
Yeah.
Who owns that? Let's see. Oh, it's not coming up for whatever reason. We do have an order on 25 here. So we might be able to get through there. Not sure. There's wetland there. Oh, here we go. Di Donato owns this one. Or I wonder if you can even get to the stream from this dead end here. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see how close it is.
Yeah.
Proximity wise. That would be, or actually, no, look at number 2 over here.
What's that?
Number 2.
Can't hear you, Joey.
Number 2.
Number 2, Pinehurst?
Yeah, let's zoom in on that. See where it's picked up right there?
Oh, this one here?
Or it zips around. See, it's almost like there's two.
See, I don't know where this one goes. It must soak through the ground. I would think.
It must duck under and go around, but you know, we should, but this one here, we could probably ask for an access through both of those.
Yep.
That
You
one,
know.
right there in the left-hand corner, that's where the culvert is.
Well, yeah, let's see if we put on the aerial again. Is this where the truck's down here, so I
But
guess it
there's-
goes
but-
around.
Well, look at, you got trucks there
Everywhere.
too.
Yeah, and so this, it looks like you might be able to reach the stream, maybe.
Yeah.
But there's junk here too. It doesn't really become clear until up here.
Why don't I ask, maybe I can ask Brandon for the best point where we should grab a sample from.
Yeah, because Joey, my only thought would be is we want to have a clear sample of somewhere that is not affected.
Yeah, and I think the best point is gonna be number 11.
Oh, this house here?
No, yeah, now go further up, zoom out again and go over to the right. And then turn on that ortho again.
Sorry.
See how there's that steers clear away from anyone's property, and then it gets into and then the closest point is next to that house there.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one, we do have access to this house here. There's they put a septic, they put a septic
That's
right
right.
there. I don't know that there's standing water in their yard, but it's close to it.
Well, anyway, we can work that out.
Yeah, we can work
Go
that out.
on.
That's a minor detail, but the more important thing is I think it's time we issue an enforcement order on this property. You know, and that carries leverage, you know, with the state, like that sends the message that we're ordering you to remove everything from stream channel, and we want everything back 25 feet at a minimum. We want the stream channels cleared of debris. Obviously, no cutting. We just want vehicle parts, garbage. Anything like that needs to be cleared out.
Anything
And
made of metal.
can we request, I mean, I guess if we really want to get on the property, we can get a warrant from the police department. I mean, this property really almost seems like like if they don't comply, I don't know, you know?
Let's do the enforcement order. That's a proper channel first.
Yeah.
I'm
just thinking of how we can make sure they even comply. If we just have an enforcement order, we still have no access to the property.
Well, we'll send them a letter and say
Okay.
that we've now issued an enforcement order, and you've got 2 weeks from delivery date to respond to us with your plan to meet our requirements. We would very much like to work with you on this issue. Based on what we can see from the road and from aerial photography. I mean, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, this is a really bad situation.
It is. And then if we need to move along with this, we'll partner with Mia, and I'll ask Mia if we should go with a warrant, and we'll have Mia come along for BP leverage.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, she's gonna have a ticketing book, and she's gonna it's not gonna be good.
Yeah, if there's ever a property to bring the state in on, this is definitely it.
This isn't good. And you don't wanna be pushing people away. But I mean, town's been trying to get them compliant, and this is wetlands, this is water. This all goes downhill, it goes to a river. I mean, there's a wellhead for people's drinking water on Bigelow Road. Like, not okay. So, all right, can we get a motion for issuing an enforcement order? And then Mary can send around the points for that.
Make the motion to order for an enforcement order for, that's 114 Worcester Road.
114 Worcester Road, yep.
Second,
Second. Okay, never mind.
Robin and I said second.
Yeah,
All right.
we're tied a lot tonight, Dan.
That's a duel.
All right, Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
A resounding yes. All right, Mary, I'm gonna skip over the annual permitting financial information, the scope of administrative approval, RDA versus NOI. I want to talk with you about that.
Yep.
We'll talk about that, and then we'll bring it to the board as business and see how the board feels about it.
Yep, sounds good.
So let's put that on our burner. Annual permitting and financial information, do you want to discuss that tonight, or anything quick on that, or?
She's been trying to discuss that with you.
If you'd
Do you
like
want
to,
to talk? Do you want to talk about?
yeah, if you'd like to discuss that, you'll have to do it without me because I need to leave about now, so.
Dan's fading.
Thank you.
So is Robin. Robin's.
Hey guys, come on.
I just worked all day. All right.
All right, yeah, this isn't much, just,
Can we have the old Catholic school brief summary, Mary? Could you do that?
I can do my best.
Wow,
So,
really?
we had more determinations, fewer orders this year. We had a
Oh,
lot of
good.
administrative approvals. So you can just see, I did send this out way long time ago. And that's just kind of our applications. It's nice to look at how they compare over the years. And then just for financial information, just the money we brought in, and these are our accounts. I know Joey likes to see the accounts. So we have this lawsuit account, which has been growing nicely. And we took some money out to pay Brandon in that year. And then the state bylaw account, I don't know why it decreased. It had been growing, but they can use this to pay my salary. So they might have pulled money out of it for that. So that's just the money that we bring in. It's been pretty even over the past few years.
Mary, I have been adamant about this, and I feel that with that account, and this is for the board too, obviously, if you feel that you would benefit from a tablet or a new computer for technology for you, something that is reasonable, something that you might be able to bring in the field and still be able to do work on, something to help you out. Utilize something, you know, if the money is there and it would benefit your job, I mean, use it. Yeah,
Okay,
because,
thank you.
and I'm sure the commission would probably agree with that. You know, I know a lot of agents are using tablets in the field now, jumping on GIS, and I don't know if that's up your alley or not, but.
Well, are these tablets that have Wi-Fi then that they can, or not Wi-Fi, have internet on them?
Some
Right,
of
you'd have to
them,
get a cell account.
some
Yeah,
of, some of them do, some of them don't, but they have GIS on them. You know, you can talk to Greg about that stuff. You know, he might be able to get something on it for you. But think about that. I want you to have something that, you know, you don't have, you know, a 2005 laptop that doesn't work. You know, I mean,
right.
you just,
It would be nice to get you away from having to haul around a lot of paper too.
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Although I have to say, I would much rather, you know, and of course, looking at plans on your phone is ridiculous, but I would much rather have the paper plans than be trying to look at them on an iPad even. I think it's too, yeah, but it could, with the thing that bothers me the most, I mean, Ann did buy me a new camera, which is nice because I had been using my personal phone to take pictures. But to me, that the camera is tedious. It takes longer than the phone does. It's just, it's not as convenient actually, but it's a nice new camera. I won't complain. So.
Good. All right, agents report, anything quick in that, problems?
Yeah, no, I've been to a few sites that I didn't even write up an agent's report, but like the Bigelow Road Solar and the Batten Solar, I was at those sites. Karen and I met with Arthur today. I think Karen had an excellent plan moving forward for the Route 12 problem down by Lakeview Marine. And I saw Liz Mikaterian today as well, and we talked about what to do with the signs on Loveland Road. So she might be before us at some point. But anyway, it's late, so there's nothing terribly urgent in any of that.
All right, very good. Obviously, anything you need, let me know. Folks, thank you very much, all of you, for what you do, and I appreciate it. And if there is no other business from any commissioner, do we have a motion for adjournment at 9:01?
I motion we adjourned at 9:02.
9:02, really? 9:02. All right, we got Robin. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Fred with his second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Yeah, good
All right,
night.
thank